Hello. I don't know why we're all putting our arms up in the air. Hello. Welcome to episode 27 of the Key Yard podcast. How you guys all doing? And this week we are sponsored by Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost Mountain Warehouse Water Jug.
Oh,
For those little minxes that keep redeeming press ups on certain people's Twitch channels.
got a bit of a beef with you there, Rob.
Nah, it's fine. I like it when people redeem press ups.
Keeps you fit.
You know, important to be physically fit and everything during these weird times.
Exactly. No, but I hope everyone's doing well. Another good end to the week, and onwards and upwards. So,
Yeah, how you doing, KB?
not
Right?
too bad. We recently got a weighing scale.
Oh, right, nice.
Take with that what you will. It's set in the bathroom, and I stand on it, and then I find out that since the age of 18, I weigh 30 kilograms more than I did then. So I'm currently on 99 kilograms, which is like I'm 5'7".
You got 99 kilograms, but a bitch ain't one. Sorry,
Yes.
I had to say that.
That's one way to put it. The other thing is, you may notice in the chat that I finally got that custom bot thing to work, so you can see that KeyButler is promoting everything, and he's got an awesome sword next to his name just to showcase all the
Nice.
good stuff. And besides from that, been catching up on the amazing TV that is known as Married at First Sight, because we love reality TV and what it musters up to us, and seeing what kind of drama occurs on that sort of television when someone cheats with someone else and all that kind of stuff. So it's so wonderful. Have you ever
very
watched?
wonderful.
Have you ever watched like sort of like celebs go dating?
Married
or-
at First Sight? No, actually, maybe I might have caught an episode or two. The ones that we watch, I've watched "Don't Tell the Bride" before, which
Yeah.
is like an absolute train wreck of a
It's
series.
brilliant. I love it. I don't know.
'Cause
I
I
never-
love the fact that I love how tone deaf certain blokes can be when choosing like the venue, the dress. They just get it totally wrong, and you think you're going to marry this person. Surely you know what they like and don't like up to the point you decide to marry them. You know?
Yeah, I remember the one I watched last. I think it was last week, and this guy did a whole Beauty and the Beast theme, and he had like a bouncy castle set up in a forest, and he dressed up as the Beast. He had all the proper makeup and stuff, but the bride was in absolute tears when she saw the dress, because it was just this horrible yellow, and you can't imagine yourself as a bride. Like, I mean, I'd wear a suit anyway.
Oh God, I saw one where they were going to get married in Ukraine or something because she was Ukrainian, and the guy he chose this white dress with like these really tacky, awful red flowers on it.
Oh God.
It's like, come
Why?
on, dude.
Like, the other one on that same episode was a guy who was like a massive prankster, and he always pranks his girlfriend and things, and he turned the whole wedding into a prank. Like, at the start, her car would break down, they'd spend ages fixing it, and they were on a country road, and then this guy was like cutting hedges, but some raspberries or strawberries just oozed onto her dress, so she had to go to the wedding when the car was fixed with this blood spattered dress on.
That's
and
awful.
And then turned up at the wrong venue, so everyone was like,
No.
"What are you doing here?" So she gets the right one, and then it's a different groom. But
I think you can take pranks a bit too far on your wedding day. You know,
yeah.
I would be stressed out to the max. You know, and I'd want everything to go quite swimmingly. You know.
Yeah. I love that. Thanks, Ollie. Came here for music. Got Don't Tell the Bride.
Yeah, we will get on to our 100 albums imminently. You know, just a bit of preamble to sort of say what
Warming
we've been doing with our weeks. And as for me, I've just been totally stressed out, really. You know, trying to do this list, I guess. I also haven't been getting nearly enough sleep.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for one instance, we were hanging out all of last night in MoshTalks VC to celebrate the fact that Beez has just attained partner status on Twitch. And it's been a long time coming, and I think he absolutely deserves it at this point for the graft he's put in, for the community that he's forged with the Mosh Squad. You know, I actually I bought a shirt actually from his Streamlabs merch page.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A Mosh Squad shirt.
I said I was going to make some merch, like in my, but I don't know. I think it was Scurvy's idea of the kind of merch that I was going to do.
For your Twitch channel?
Just in general, there was like you know on my intro, there's like all those words that appear across the screen. Scurvy's idea was to have a shirt with those quotes on it.
Nice. But yeah, so I've just been really incredibly weighed down with everything. I just all sorts of shit at the moment going on with me. You know, so it's nice to relax a bit, chat shit. You know,
exactly. Chat shit, get banged, as they say.
Chat shit, get banged. We'll probably cover a bit of football later on as well. Actually, to come to me good. Speaking of which, but yeah, that whole car crash TV of you know, Don't Tell the Bride. Just Tattoo of Us, Married at First Sight.
Just Tattoo of Us is one of the worst because people get the most horrid tattoos on there, like the guy who like tattooed himself but with his arsehole showing as his belly button.
Oh God!
Or the guy who got the Spurs tattoo when he's an Arsenal fan.
No, well that was an actual episode.
That was an actual episode.
Oh my God!
Katie's idea for me was
what are you doing, man?
Katie's idea for me was a slug wearing an Arsenal shirt.
Oh, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
No, my favourite one is Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh, I love Kitchen Nightmares. Do you remember that
Kitchen
one?
Nightmares, just to watch, there's something so satisfying about watching Gordon Ramsay tear into an incompetent or rude restaurant owner. Putting him in their place. There's something so satisfying intrinsically about that.
Yeah, the most notable ones for me are the belly dancer, the guy who chases away the debt collector, the woman who has like the most horrid kitchen, but she's in complete denial about it and like projects it back onto Ramsay. The short woman with glasses.
Yeah. There's also that Amy's Baking Company one, which was just basically, it turned out to be a massive front for some money laundering scheme.
Yeah, and is that what it was?
Apparently, well, I think our mutual friend Jackie was explaining that.
Oh, because I know
allegedly.
Because I know
it was some massive front for some money laundering scheme, which doesn't surprise me because
bloody hell. Well,
they treated all their customers and they treated Gordon.
Yeah, he was a bit of a mobster, wasn't he? Yeah, because like I remember people coming in afterwards. They were actually filming, taping their experiences at the company, and he was as real as it could get. You'd think it was just staged for the show, but it's so crazy that you can't stage something like that.
Right. You know, it's. There's just there's also the scene where he's in the restaurant and they serve him a grilled lettuce, and he just stops everything and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, can I just have your attention, please? Can you check this out, please? Observe what this is. It is a grilled lettuce." And there's just everyone pissing themselves around.
Yeah, one of the more horrifying ones is when that guy gets ill on some seafood, doesn't he? And he has to go to hospital, and you're just like, that restaurant is so. I don't know whether they got sued or not, but based on the show, it didn't look like they did.
Yeah, jeez,
like
that was awful.
And Gordon with those was it those, not scallops, something else, wasn't it?
Something like that.
And they tasted so rotten that he had to go to
the toilet.
Yeah,
he's like throwing up into a bucket.
Yeah, it was awful. Brilliant. But the restaurant thought that he was just milking it, but like Gordon doesn't go to restaurants to milk it, does he? He's got.
What I love about that series is the differences between the American version and the British version.
Yeah, because like the American version is overly dramatic, like especially with the music and things. When someone says something that is like triggering or something, you hear the boom. But it's
very very US TV editing. It's like that fast zoom in type deal with the flying text coming at you.
Yeah, but we like to play on more of the
what
awkward.
Gordon Ramsay do next?
Yeah.
Whereas the UK version, it's a lot more understated and a lot more. I have come to this restaurant in the Cotswolds to see if I could help out this struggling chef and his family. Whereas, like, you know, you cut to US version. Gordon takes down this restaurant. You know, this is pretty funny.
I mean, like, I think the UK version plays more on the awkwardness of situations. You know, when they have that most British argument ever, the chef who doesn't know how to cook a mussel. What? Yeah. Well, I don't know how to make one, but you don't have to make fun of me for it, do you plonker twat?
What are you saying, bruv? Yeah.
What are you saying, Wonky Steve?
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the restaurants featured in the British version was owned by Wonky Steve.
All right, mate, we're going to go and cook us a bloody massive fucking top banana scallop.
Yeah. So yeah, I know we keep going back and forth between these things, but I genuinely, Beez getting partner is wonderful news, because I think he definitely, I think we forged a good thing here. You know, for one thing, I wouldn't know half the people in the chat that are watching this right now live on Twitch.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
And you know, I like to think it's helped our own community grow and everything.
Yeah. And thank you, Mazza,
from that association.
And thank you to Mazza for putting the self-promo thing in MoshTalks Discord.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think he was probably tired of us promoting this podcast in the elite chat. You know.
Yeah. Then he made the Twitch clips ones, isn't he? He was like, "This one's for you, Rob."
Yeah, I know. I go a bit clip crazy on that channel. You know?
Although,
I have a big project in the works actually to do with that.
Yeah.
Between you and us, you know, which I'm hoping to get done for either his birthday, which is in the summer, or the anniversary of the channel, which is in like July.
Oh, nice. So he started in July, because I think I started watching in August, September, but I was kind of like on and off, and now I've been watching it more frequently. So I've gotten to know people a lot more, and you're all lovely people. It's
just a great community, you know. Yeah. It's like it really, you know, and seeing some of the messages that were coming through whilst we were doing, you know, he was doing his stream and the partner celebration, seeing some of the messages, you know, about how like this last year and a half has been really shit, and you know, you've really helped me, you know, and I feel the same way. Really, it's been a huge help, you know, doing stuff like this during lockdown and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Just to say, massive congrats to Beez, and it's a good thing for there are going to be much better things to come.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm hoping we can get some teams. He gets a team together, and then he includes some of our Twitch channels as part of his team.
I did cheekily ask him that.
That would be amazing.
I did cheekily ask him that in the elite chat, but he didn't reply.
He didn't reply. Well, we all discussed it in voice chat last night, like me and Stay Puffed and Michael and all that. We think we should probably do like a kind of group, I don't know, discussion of it with him.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it anyway.
Then we'll buy we'll buy a streamer house in a few months, 7-bedroom.
Right now, it's time to kick out the jams.
Pump up the jam. And I know we said before the podcast we were on L. No, we're on M.
You're on M. Okay, good.
Because we mentioned like Linkin Park last time and stuff, didn't we?
Cool. Right. Well, just as a let me just see if there's anything, because basically I've been chopping and changing my list of 100 best albums all week. You know, so there's some that have kind of just not quite made it. But there could have been, I think some of them were some of the ones that I mentioned last week, but I'm just going to do a quick skinny through, see if there's anything I forgot to mention.
Okay. Okay.
And again, my list is not, I'm still not going to be satisfied with it, because there's still like loads of albums that I haven't quite rated yet.
All right.
But
why don't I go through my M's, and you can work through yours a tiny bit whilst I go through my M's. If that works. Okay.
Well, it's only going to take me a little bit, you know, because I've only added a few in since then. So,
Okay.
I'll just quickly whiz through them. So ones that have made it in since last time. I'm going to go in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So Bokassa, Crimson Riders, brilliant slice of Norwegian stoner metal, and I saw them supporting Puppy, and they're really good.
Yeah.
Breaking Benjamin, Phobia, Diary of Jane, and Unknown Soldier. Until the End. There's some brilliant tunes on that. I always love and respect that band. Let's see. Down Nola. Oh yeah, Down Nola. And I know how controversial that band is, and how controversial their front man is, but it's just a brilliant slice of stoner metal / southern tinged metal. It's fantastic super group.
Yay.
I think it's probably one of my favorite supergroups along with Killer Be Killed. Let's see. Noise. Did I mention that one? Can't remember if I mentioned that one last night, but Gay Dad Leisure Noise. Slice of post Britpop, and it's really, really cool.
Noise.
Elements of krautrock in there, elements of like 70s style rock, grunge. Also, it's brilliant, a diverse sounding album.
Yeah.
Joe Strummer and the Mescalero, Streetcore. I think I probably mentioned this last time, but if I didn't, it's just one of the best songwriters of all time. Just thinking in my head of which ones I mentioned, which ones I didn't.
I would like to say as well, I listened to that Harakiri for the Sky album, and it's such a strong contender for album of the year. I'm wondering if at the end of it that would be in my top 100 as well, just because of like how memorable it is, and it's just like this genre of post black metal is getting increasingly more popular. Like bands like Alcest and maybe Svalbard you could probably put in there as well, and I'm excited to see where that genre goes, because it's got just a nice, good mix of different styles, and it doesn't always try to be the heaviest. It just tries to be like in terms of progression and songwriting and things like that. It tries to be different and atmospheric, and that's why I'm starting to really get into the genre itself.
Nice. Yeah, I will listen to that Harakiri for the Sky album. It's one of my most anticipated releases, and I'm right up there with loving the post metal sensibilities of what they've put out so far.
Yeah.
I think the one last album which I forgot to mention, I might not have mentioned last week, which I love, is Killing Joke, Nighttime.
Oh, okay.
I think Killing Joke are one of the most pivotal, underrated, influential bands in certainly in industrial, but maybe even just rock in general, post-punk. Just the way they combined harsh, cold noise with very metallic guitars and that wail that Jazz Coleman has. It's brilliant. It was between that and the first self-titled album. But yeah, Killing Joke, do go check him out. Very influential to a lot of bands out there. And so we're on M. Did you say?
We are on M. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Well, I've done my piece. You can do your M's first, and then we'll alternate again.
All right. So my first M is something that I previously talked with Beez about, so you know the album already. For those who watched my interview with Beez, and that is Machine Head's The Blackening. Just to reiterate what I said in the interview, it's one of those albums that is so hard to top because it just collects all the good old and some new surprises from Machine Head, and just mixes it into an album full of 8 tracks full of just sheer brilliance. Starting strong with a song like Clenching the Fists of Dissent, which is arguably the best song on the album for me, and then Beautiful Morning kind of carrying off that. Aesthetics of Hate is like the message behind it was like, just that song of fuck you to someone is just someone who deserves it is just brilliant. Now I Lay Thee Down, taking things down a tempo, but then just like that breakdown is just one of my favorite breakdowns that I've heard from Machine Head. That dun 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 dun, slanderous, doing something a bit different again. Then Halo, that would probably be people's favorite
Halo's
song.
Probably my favorite from that album. It's brilliant.
It is like, you just get so much different stuff from that album, and the production on it is fantastic. And I love a lot of the stuff that they've done afterwards, maybe with the exception of, and I didn't want to say this on Beez's interview, but with the exception of what's that album called with the guy laying down naked?
The one beginning with C with the corpse with the blood over it. Yeah, that was like,
it was very like, it was weird to see Machine Head with like 15 songs on the album, but I felt like that sort of nu metal mixed with groove. It felt quite thin, the production, for a lot of it.
Catharsis it's called.
Catharsis, yeah. And there was just a lot of missed opportunities on the album and songs that you just skip over. There was some highlights, but that's not enough to make a great album for me. Bloodstone and Diamonds is probably my second favourite.
Bloodstone and Diamonds is fantastic. That's probably going to be my favourite, but I haven't rated it yet. The Machine Head album I have in my top 100 at the moment is Burn My Eyes.
I love Burn My Eyes. I prefer the More Things Change, actually. I love the song front
Burn
lines
My
of
Eyes
that.
is great because it's at that point, it was just such a raw, aggressive kind of attack, and all of Rob's pinch harmonics and his delivery it's particularly on like real lies, like he just goes full bore.
Yeah, I think my favourite of the album is either...
He conveys his frustration in such a way. That album was released and some of the subjects on it are like, it's about the LA riots, some songs, and, it's about the Waco siege. There's some heavy topics, and he's never been one to not wear his heart on his sleeve.
No, exactly. I think...
and you can tell he was really, he puts so much passion into everything he does, which is great.
I think my favourite song off the album is definitely Blood for Blood, or Old. One of those two my two favourites.
Mine would probably be, Davidian's the obvious option. I love The Rage to Overcome. That's a great...
Yeah. Then my next album, when it comes to Mastodon, it's very difficult to choose a favourite album. It's always between
your favourite band, so...
They're one of my favourites, one of my all-time favourites. I had to go with Blood Mountain in the end. Crack the Sky was very, very close, but I feel like there is just so much more to offer. Not so much more, sorry. A bit more to offer on Blood Mountain. And there's some hidden gems on there. This Mortal Soil, for example. It's such a... Like, it's not the heaviest song, but it's just it kind of carries you through the motions.
Is definitely a pick for me because it has that really, it has that kind of that riff.
Circle of Sasquatch, another one off that. Blade Catcher is just craziest Mastodon.
Oh, Blade Catcher is mental, isn't it?
It's like they just put a turkey in front of the mic and say,
that's definitely. I feel like Blood Mountain is definitely their most experimental album.
Yeah, definitely
in terms of styles. I really like Wolf is Loose on that. The opening track obviously just comes out swinging.
Yeah, I know they hardly ever play that live anymore, which is a shame. But
that is a shame, isn't it? Because I think it's one of their best songs.
Yeah.
Sleeping Giant, I think is really great. Circle of Sasquatch, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Colony of Birchmen with Josh Homme.
That's great. Yeah.
Brilliant tune.
Yeah. So there's that. I love.
For me, the Mastodon album I have is Crack the Sky, and it's actually very, very high on my list. I think it's currently number 9 on my list. Really? I have ordered my list as well in rating order.
Yeah,
that album really made me appreciate progressive rock.
Yeah,
/ progressive metal,
like a song
in a way that I hadn't done before, because it's just that perfect marriage to me of like, even though there's tunes that are over, the Last Baron is 13 minutes long. And
I'm more of a Bizarre guy than the Last Baron.
I still never get bored of that song whenever I listen to it, and the fact that Mastodon can do a 13-minute song, and it's still exciting for me to listen to every time I listen to it, just kind of sums up really.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I've also.
And plus, I love all the. Sorry to interject, plus, I love all the the Russian kind of the Russian folkloric kind of influences. You know, the whole narrative about Rasputin and astral projecting, and escaping the Tsar of Russia and things.
Yeah.
The album is actually about Brondela's sister.
Yeah, that's why it's spelt
I
differently.
like
isn't
that
it?
personal touch about it as well.
Yeah, I can understand that, and it's always going to be a very strong tie between those two albums. I think.
I like your new command, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, they open with The Last Baron in Glass. Bloody hell, that's quite a bit of a risk to
Nice.
open with a 30-minute song. Like, I remember the last risk I saw with that was like I remember when Periphery, like Reptile, was like 15 minutes long, and they opened the album with it. That's...
just when that riff comes in, the
yeah. But to be honest, like, I think Emperor of Sand was a fantastic album as well. That's probably my third favorite.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't think they have a bad album.
No, even the Hunter,
those few
like,
bands that they're pretty consistent throughout their career.
Like they
haven't had an absolute clanger yet.
Yeah, they've been a lot better with their vocals. I think when it came to like Remission Days, it was a bit like more sludgy vocals that. It's an acquired
part of their
taste.
style, really.
Yeah, like I said, it's an acquired taste, I reckon. But there we go. The next one is Martyr Defiled Young Gods, a bit of a newer edition. It's got this sort of mix of, like, I wouldn't say deathcore, I'd say maybe like sort of posty death metal, but some of the riffs that come off it are quite wacky, and it just really lays the smackdown on you, and it's an album I just like. When it comes to Spotify, I always come back to it, because Sins of the Father is just like got this riff that just goes, and then Sins of the Mother is like one of the creepiest metal songs I've listened to. Just that intro itself is just so eerie, so I love that kind of mix. Then we've got a classic. I love how like a lot of the classics are in the M category. Like
there's so many great bands beginning with M.
Yeah,
I'll get to a few more obviously in a bit, but
yeah. So I've got Megadeth, Rust in Peace.
So
I think like I love Endgame like as one of like and the latest album, which is like
Endgame is brilliant. Yeah, that's very underrated.
And like Countdown to Extinction, I think went more in sort of like the Black Album sort of route, not as much as the Black Album, but. Rust in Peace is just the sweet spot.
It's the album that's kind of, if you were to say give me a definitive list of thrash metal albums, that would be like number 1 or 2.
And I think Tornado of Souls intro has got to be one of my favorites. Just that riff where it goes down. I just love that so much because it's just like the freestyle.
Harmonics is so good.
Yeah, it just goes to show how great of a songwriter Dave Mustaine, is. And
yeah, absolutely. I don't think he gets enough credit for his songwriting. Really, I really don't.
People kind of get a bit blinded by his singing.
People really can't get past his singing, which is a shame.
So it's a bit annoying, really.
But as a lyricist, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah,
I think he's always been brilliant, and he's always tapped into something very real. With his lyrics.
Definitely. All right, so my next M legend would be Metallica, Ride the Lightning.
Oh, that was a close one. That was a very close one.
I think
it had to be Master of Puppets for me.
Yeah, I think
the album is actually number 2 on my list.
I just love
best albums ever because it's just flawless. Master of Puppets. As far as I'm concerned, but Ride the Lightning is very, very good as well. That would probably be second or third favorite Metallica album for me.
Like, I just love the different range of songs they make on Ride the Lightning, because like it doesn't sound like any song is the same on Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets is kind of like, I would say it's a more cohesive album, Master of Puppets, but I'd say Ride the Lightning has so much for me to sink my teeth into. In comparison, like Trapped Under Ice is probably my favorite song off there. You've got Fade to Black, even Fight Fire with Fire, the first song where it gets down and dirty.
I really like. Creeping Death is the one for me from Ride the Lightning. That's just every time I've seen them play it live, it's always absolutely. As soon as James plays that opening, place explodes without fail.
I will say though, probably I do prefer Orion to Call of Cthulhu in terms of instrumental songs. I think Orion is better.
But Orion is. I mean, it's Cthulhu's good, but Orion is like the best instrumental ever.
Absolutely.
In the history of instrumentals.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Count that for 2.
And the Escape. I love Escape, and I love what else is on Ride? The title track. The title track is brilliant. That's like one of my favorite Metallica songs ever.
Yeah.
Flash before my eyes. And Fade to Black, obviously, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I mean, it's a classic, really, isn't it?
I know, like it's such a it's got a simple sort of but original set piece for it to carry it all the way through. My next M is going to be My Chemical Romance: The Black Parade. Oh, no, I mean, like, I'd probably say a lot of diehard My Chemical Romance fans would probably favour 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge just because of the punk rock nature to it. But I think in terms of where they just perfected like their songwriting and stuff, Black Parade just has it for me. Like the absolute bangers, like the title track, and Famous Last Words, Dead, This Is How I Disappear, Mama, which is probably one of my favourite all-time My Chemical Romance songs. It's just got it all, and the sort of narrative vocal approach that Gerard puts forward really complements the album. So it just has that like amazing mix, and I think Ray Toro is, I would probably argue that he is quite an underrated guitarist, because I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves, because he is a fantastic, like he's very good at his leads and things.
I know virtually nothing about My Chem.
Yeah.
I never really grew up listening to. I was more of a Green Day guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, the Black Parade and 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, is it kind of like the American Idiot Dookie argument?
Maybe, I think.
So, like, American Idiot's a lot more bombastic and a lot more narrative, theatrical punk rock, like the Black Parade is.
Yeah.
Whereas Dookie is a more straightforward punk rock album like 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. Is that fair to say?
Possibly, but then again, maybe their first album fits that a bit more as well. And then if you're going to go down that route, maybe father of all to My Chem would be Danger Days.
Oh dear. That doesn't sound good.
Danger Days was their attempt at being all party rock and all that kind of stuff, and I just don't think
didn't work.
Paid off as well as they hoped it would.
I got you.
I don't want to speak for them.
But next, yeah, Black Parade, good shout.
Yeah, and then my final M is Muse: Origin of Symmetry. I think this is where Muse essentially got their, as you say, they experimented with their sound, and they tried to sort of recreate it in albums like Drones, but in terms of like, let me just have a look at the song list. So you got Newborn, which is like an absolute hit. They played it at Download 2015. Plug-in Baby, it gets played by cover bands in bars.
Ultimate kind of air guitar song, Plug-in Baby.
Yeah, and Citizen Race, Space Dementia, Hyper Music. I think this is the album for me that just has it all from Muse.
Yeah, Muse have always been one of those weird bands that kind of I don't listen to enough, but when I listen to, I quite like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I've heard they're just immense live as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think my Muse album, I would probably go for Hysteria, personally.
It has, I can understand that.
As the title track, obviously, it has Time Is Running Out, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it was a very close
different
call.
Strokes, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, what would you class your M's to be?
Well, I haven't got many on here that you haven't said or I haven't gone for already. Malevolent Self Supremacy.
Oh. Interesting
because
shout. Yeah.
they're a band that I feel like are going to explode in a few years once they release their third album. You know?
I think from the songs that they've showed so far, I think they are shown like a great.
I absolutely. I didn't
diversity of
really
stuff.
stress this enough on our last year's albums countdown. You know, our favorite albums from last year.
Yeah.
But the Other Side EP is just amazingly brilliant. You know, if that was an album, that would be in my top albums of last year. But unfortunately, it was two. You know, it was only 3 songs,
Yeah.
but 3 brilliant tunes. And I feel like this band they've got a brilliant sort of. They're very tight. They've got a brilliant kind of mix of, you know, slam, hardcore, metal, southern groove. You know, they've got that kind of those crowbar cleans. They've got like pure aggression breakdowns. They got everything. You know.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
one of those albums that you kind of it's good. It's a good album to get you pumped up. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah, sorry. Yeah, do you want to say?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was going to say something, but then nah.
Right. So yeah, Mastodon, Crack the Sky, like I said. Machine Head, Burn My Eyes, Megadeth, Rust in Peace, Metallica, Master of Puppets. I think we've covered all of them.
Oh, really?
Motorhead, 1916 is my last M choice.
Ooh. Have you seen the sequel to that, 1917?
A lot of people would say Ace of Spades, you know,
Yeah.
which is understandable because it's the album that, you know, is most associated with them and everything.
Yeah.
And I do like that album. But 1916, I love the production on it, you know, and it came out in 1993, I think, 1992, around that era.
This is a thing that I see with Motorhead. Have they ever released a bad album?
They've been consistent, you know.
Like,
it's one of those things. They only had a free about. The thing is, they released so many albums, you know. And Lemmy himself will have he admitted in some documentaries that I saw that there's some albums that they released were kind of turkeys, you know. You know, I don't think he was too fond of Snakebite Love or Hammered or albums like that, you know.
Thing is, there's so many. I can't.
You ask him, actually, his preferred album would be Bastards.
Yeah.
That was 1993. Sorry,
One of the later.
1916 was 1991. It was produced by Ed Stasium and Pete Solly. Ed Stasium, of course, famous for his work with the Ramones.
Yeah.
And there is actually a Ramones tribute song on this album called Ramones. There's also No Voices in the Sky, which is just brilliant. The one to sing the blues, I'm So Bad Baby I Don't Care, Going to Brazil, which is like, it was a live staple for them, and it was just brilliant, powerful rock and roll song, you know.
Yeah.
If you just like brilliant, powerful rock and roll, but there's also like some really dark songs on there, like Love Me Forever, so it kind of showed, you know, it wasn't just, if you look at Ace of Spades, it was kind of relentless kind of rock and roll tunes, you know, very bluesy play. On Love Me Forever, it's very dark, very introspective, very, you know, creepy sounding song, and it's a different side of Motorhead that you don't really get. Also, 1916, which is basically really heart-wrenching. It's an anti-war song, you know, about the First World War, which Lemmy, of course, was a big, you know, he's a big war historian when he was alive. But he realized the sort of, you know, the tragedies of war and conveyed it in this song. And it's so heart-wrenching because it's like very sparse and very, very different and sensitive sounding. It's like a ballad almost.
Like, I'd probably go with Ace of Spades, but like one of my favorites as well is one of the later albums. I really like The World Is Yours.
Oh, World Is Yours. Interesting. Yeah, that's some
good hits on it.
It
like
was
Devils
between
in My
that.
Hands.
I love their mid-90s albums the most, I think.
Yeah.
Like Overnight Sensation and Sacrifice as well were very close to being there ahead of this one. But 1916 also 1916 won a Grammy, I believe. So
there we go.
You know, it's I think critics viewed it quite favorably as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what
not
we
just
want to
me
see.
picking one of their weirdest, most out there albums and expecting people to buy it. No, there was critical acclaim behind this, which was good.
Yeah. Lovely.
So N. Do you want me to go first on this one?
On
Or
N, I haven't got any N's. Why have I not got
you
any
haven't got
N's?
any N? Okay.
I guess notable ones will probably be like, I don't know, Nickelback. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. Let me find some
Hey,
notable ones, and then you can
your
start with
list.
them, and
You know,
I'll see
I'm
if
not
there's.
judging.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I'll quickly go whiz through my ends, then, and we can get to O.
Yeah.
So first album, Naked Ray Gun, Jettison. Naked Ray Gun, American punk rock band. This was released in 1988, and they're just kind of one of the many kind of late 80s punk bands who were kind of paving the way for more alternative / melodical influences in hardcore punk,
Yeah.
So they're, they've played shows with like Husker Du, for example. They're one of those kind of bands. Really, really cool band. If you like kind of melodic but hard edged punk rock, that's for you.
Yeah. Just to say, I do have some ends. I just
Oh,
had
you
a
do
look
have
and
some
I was
ends,
like,
good. We'll get on to
I
them.
can mention these.
Nirvana, and it had to be Nevermind.
Of course it is. I mean,
as much as I like Bleach and I like In Utero, in fact, I like everything they've done. Nevermind, it's just, you cannot deny how much of a brilliant album it is from start to finish, Endless Nameless is a bit weird, but that's kind of a hidden track, so it's kind of, I let it off. Other than that, the album is pretty much flawless, I would say.
yeah.
The thing that stops it from being higher on my list is that I've heard Smells Like Teen Spirit so many times, it's just kind of lost its edge a bit.
Yeah, what I usually do is like listen to albums in the full and just try and visualize how the songs that I've heard so many times fit into that album, like their place on that album.
That's a good point. But, other than Smells Like Teen Spirit, you have just a murderer's row of classics,
Yeah.
You've got In Bloom, Come As You Are, Breed, Lithium,
In
Polly.
Bloom is one of my favorites.
Territorial. This could be a greatest hits.
Do you remember when you was in school? Do you remember in school, right? And do you remember the website freewebs.com where you'd like create your own website? It was like one of the first few ones. So freewebs.com, before like all Squarespace and WordPress were around, there was this one, and people would and before like MySpace and all those. You could create like a blog or something like that on this website, and you could have, as soon as you click the website, you could have a MIDI song come up, and there was just like so many Nirvana ones. Now, it Smells Like Teen Spirit and Heart Shaped Box sounded great, but the one they chose for In Bloom was so weird because it just sounded like this weird, like thin acoustic thing instead of like down.
Oh, it was probably for an MTV Unplugged version. I don't know. I don't know if they did that on MTV Unplugged, but
I was just like, I want the actual song.
You want the actual song? So also, Drain You, Lounge Act, Stay Away, On the Plane, Something in the Way. I mean, it's 5 out of 5s all round.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So finally, I have for my N albums, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, self-titled debut. And in fact, this album was actually very, very high on my list.
Yeah.
Because I think, honestly, I can't even stress this enough. Noel Gallagher is a genius songwriter, and I won't hear otherwise. Like, he's just brilliant, and he's brilliant at crafting simple, melodic, hooky, rock / pop rock songs. This album is a collection of he's always been great at a ballad, right? That's been his main strength, I would say, rather than the rockier songs he's done are brilliant, but the more introspective, kind of sensitive sounding songs that he made, I just always strike touch a certain nerve in my body every time I hear it.
Yeah.
And this is a fantastic collection of kind of really introspective, fun songs. You've got AKA What a Life, Everybody's on the Run, Dream On, If I Had a Gun, Stop the Clocks, which I can't believe they've still never played live because it's a banger.
Mm-hmm.
And the production on this, it's just swimming in just atmosphere and like takes me away to, you know, I remember seeing him at the O2 Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this album had just come out and people were singing to these tunes as loud as they was singing to some of the Oasis songs he was performing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this album doesn't get enough credit, really.
Yeah. No, I get you.
So you said you do have some ends.
So one that I regret not talking about in 2018 because I only discovered it like a year ago, and I think it's in that same category as like Harakiri for the Sky and Alcest and stuff. It's the album Adore by Numenorian. It's hard to say. Numenorian. That's the band.
I do not know then. Actually.
I would give it a check. Like it's again, it's a notable one, so I've yet to like kind of properly categorize it. But from what I've heard, it's just that sweet goodness of like that post-black metal. I think it is such like it is becoming such a dominant genre at the moment. It's just got something that is like I do worry about a time where it does become a sort of genre that like goes out of fad or something like that, because that does happen to genres, and they got to find new ways to kind of make it fresh, as the as with gent and things like that. But these sorts of bands, they've really paved their own ways in certain ways, and this is no different. How could I not include Nightwish on this? This is a bit of a controversial one, but as much as I like Once and I like Tyre, Dark Passion Play I think just had the best set of songs on it. Between the Island and that's just one of the most beautiful acoustic songs that I've ever heard. The Island, Master Passion Greed, which is solely a Marco song, is just crazy. Amaranth, there's just so much stuff on it, and it was like Nightwish was one of those bands I listened to when I was a teenager, so they go into that sort of category, so it's a very nostalgic album in that sense as well. And to think that I was like I listened to Once quite a lot, but I feel like what's it called, The Poet and the Pendulum is just probably my favourite song of all time by them. I just love that really heavy part where Marco comes in. Is just fantastic. Then the last one I can mention is a band I talked about last year. The album is All Hail by Norma Jean. Fantastic, just brutality going down. It was kind of like I could kind of sort of compare it to like albums like Different Shades of Blue by Knocked Loose, but this is the album that just had that really good spot of just that sort of metalcore, which isn't like fast or pacey. It's just gets down and dirty. The Norma Jean album is very much that, and I think it is probably their best album to date for me.
Norma Jean, they kind of they're like the heavier side of metalcore, right? They're a bit more chaotic and
so they don't go out of their way to like try and be more technical. They do have the technical moments, but they're more like a sort of loathe kind of metalcore band.
I got you. So on to O. I mean, I only have one that actually is currently in my top 100.
Does it begin with Oasis?
Does it begin with Oasis? I'll get onto it in a minute. But one that just didn't quite make it was Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears album.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's his best work outside of Sabbath.
I would agree with that. Yeah, is that the one that Waiting for Darkness is on?
No. It's got Mama, I'm Coming Home, No More Tears. For some reason, I've just drawn a blank. Bear with.
No worries.
Yeah, Desire. That's the one I was thinking of. I Don't Want to Change the World. Massive tune. Hellraiser. I mean, massive tune. Yeah, so just didn't quite make my top 100, but it was up there.
Waiting for
The one that I
Darkness on
do
Bucket
have,
for
and
me.
it with a bullet, I might add. There are so many Oasis albums I could have chosen. They're one of my favourite bands of all time. I don't make any apologies for it. I know what people think about them. What's the Story? Morning Glory, definitely, maybe. Just two absolute classics. Regardless of your taste, you cannot deny how great a collection of songs they are. I went for Be Here Now, though, because Be Here Now is an album that I feel like has a lot of undue flack, especially in recent years. The fact that Noel himself doesn't like that album is a because he usually is he bigs up everything he does, and says this is great, this is brilliant. Be Here Now is the one album where he's gone, I should have done something different, and I can't listen to it, kind of thing. Whereas Liam loves it, I suspect it's probably because this album, in my opinion, has Liam's best vocal performances, like in his entire career. And that might be a controversial thing to say, but really, if you listen to some of the melodies and some of the hooks that he incorporates into, well, not he himself, obviously, because Noel wrote the songs, but the way he treated the hooks and the snarl and the rock and roll kind of authenticity of that album, and a lot of people may call it kind of a bit pretentious and overblown, but it's an album full of really long rock and roll songs that always. Do you know what I mean? Is like my favorite song of all time, and I never ever get tired of it.
So
how many times I listen to it? It's a cool version of Wonderwall. Basically, and it's just, if you watch the music video of that, there's nothing cooler than like Liam Gallagher in shades in a parka, surrounded by helicopters. It's a bit like there was, Guns N' Roses' Estranged moment, but or November Rain, or whatever you want to call it. I have a kind of bit of a personal bias towards this album. It's an album I grew up listening to. I just think the songs are brilliant. I Think I Know always cheers me up whenever I listen to it if I'm having a bad day, because it has that anthemic kind of major key, take on the world kind of, you can do this kind of sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm probably blustering and blubbering a bit about this, Getting Better Man, same sort of thing. My Big Mouth, Don't Go Away, which is written about the Gallagher's mum, There's a nice personal touch to it there. You have the psychedelia of Magic Pie. You've got I could go on and on and on about how much I love this album, and most of it's probably going to fall on deaf ears because it was never, a critic's darling, or even the own songwriter of its darling, But it's an album that's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the one that's made it.
All right.
So, P.
So, P for me, the one I've got written down is a bit of an interesting one, actually. It's probably one that you wouldn't expect me out of all their albums to kind of go, yeah, this is the one. And it's Periphery's double-sided album, Juggernaut. It's interesting, really, because people know Periphery for kind of being, I wouldn't say one of the pioneers of gent, probably new wave sort of gent, because,
although they were definitely one of the pioneers of gent, I would say.
But Meshuggah popularized it, I'd say.
Popularized it, yeah.
Whereas, I think, the first album definitely had some of the most crazy riffs on it. But I think in terms of sheer songwriting, I've got to give it to Juggernaut. It doesn't go out of its way to be, extremely technical just for the sake of it. It just focuses on the sheer importance of when is the best idea to kind of take things down a notch, and when to kick things back up again, even riffs as simple as sort of but groovy, like The Bad Thing, they just leave you hooked. And Periphery have this weird, interesting way of making like heavy songs turn out to be happy sounding, like Alpha, for example. Like I think people were kind of skeptical of Alpha when it first came out, but it's a song that's really grown on me because it's just such a fun song to listen to, and Omega is just like, I think it's one of the best songs that they have written. You know, what are the songs on the album? Hell Below is just like, I'd probably say is the heaviest. It's just double-sided greatness for me.
Nice.
Next, I've got A Perfect Circle's 13th Step. I think in all their progressive nature, I think 13th Step is the one where they just got it pretty spot on.
Yeah, a lot of people would go for that one.
Yeah.
Me personally, I haven't rated it yet, but Murder Noms would be up there for me. The debut.
Yeah, I can see that.
Orestes is just one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. And
then
Free Libras as well.
Yeah, and then the last album I could pinpoint is Horizons by Parkway Drive.
Yes,
I think
that has actually made my top 100 as well. And I finished rating it today.
It's just, let's see some of the songs, shall we? Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to have a look as well.
Because, like, I get...
For me, it's, the first 4 songs are absolute... Begin, Siren Song, Feed Them to the Pigs, and Carry On. In a row. Are you kidding me?
Siren Song is one of the best intros. Just that.
Yeah.
And then you got Boneyards, Idols and Anchors, Feed Them to the Pigs.
I love Idols and Anchors.
You know, it's just...
Breaking Point is brilliant as well.
Yeah. And, like, I'd probably say the close contender for second for me would be Aya. I know it's a very kind of another skeptical album for people, but it
has crushed on it. Enough said.
It has crushed. I mean, that's probably what kind of put some people off. It had those sort of new metal sounding songs, but then when you've got songs like Dying to Believe, and then Fractures is great, and then Deathless Song I think is just beautiful.
Vice Grip as well.
Vice Grip, of course. The ending of Bottom Feeder, where he's like, Bottom Feeder, oh, fuck, you know, just love it. So love it. I just think maybe the Reverence kind of was going for something, but I feel like they just didn't get to it quite, and I hope that they can kind of. I see like they are trying to like.
Oh, they'll get it. They'll have a. They
have to, really, don't they? I mean,
it helps that Horizons was produced by the genius that is Adam D from Killswitch Engage, and you can absolutely tell, you know, the way he treats the rhythmic qualities of that album and the grooves, you know, the way he produces that. Just instantly, wonderful listening to me. You know, the way his production jobs. He's one of the most underrated producers in my opinion. I enjoy every album I listen to that he produces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I agree with Roddy there. Reverence has good songs, but just not as good an album as the rest of the back catalogue. So yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, that's my piece. So what's yours?
That's all your piece, right? Okay, cool. Right, Pantera, Great Southern Trendkill, because it's the best Pantera album for me. Volbeat is a very, very close second.
Yeah.
Very close second, right?
See, I would have gone with either that or
obviously the classic everyone. But Great Southern Trendkill really added an element of darkness to their groove metal songs, you know?
Yeah.
And this was right when Phil was kind of in the throes and the grips of his addictions, you know? And the band was kind of falling apart. For some reason, I always gravitate towards an album that when a band is kind of going slightly off the rails, you know?
Yeah. Allow that.
It's like Floods. Floods, Jordan, you've mentioned Floods in the comments. That is just an absolute masterpiece of a song, you know? The guitar outro, it's a guitar outro that I can have on a loop. When you bury me, when you put me in a coffin, just put the outro of Floods on a loop inside the coffin, and I will never get tired of it ever.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of perfect guitar moments. And
Yeah.
of course, Dimebag was a perfect guitar player. So
Yeah. I would probably
also
go
you
with...
have 13 Steps to Nowhere. You have the title track. You have Underground in America. You have Tens. You have Suicide Notes Parts 1 and 2. Suicide Note Part 1, kind of what I've noticed, is very similar to Going to California by Led Zeppelin, but it's still, it's really nice to hear a kind of very ballady sounding Pantera song on an album, full of aggression. It kind of very nice balance. Great, just brilliant album. And Terry Date as well produced it.
Terry Date is one of my favorite. Yeah,
up there. One of my favorite producers.
He almost produced a Bullet for My Valentine album.
Did he really?
Yeah, I think he almost produced Venom, but then they went back to Colin Richardson.
It would have made it so much better. I'm sorry.
I know.
Most things that Terry Date touches turn to gold.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you hear the mix that he did for Vermilion? Not Vermilion. He made it sound so much better than the way Rick Rubin did it.
He did a mix for "Revolution Is My Name" from Reinventing the Steel. I think he's done the whole of Reinventing the Steel in his own way. Actually,
yeah,
sounds so much better.
I think
than the original album.
So I think my favorite Pantera album would be Vulgar Display of Power. I also have a good. I also have a soft spot for Reinventing the Steel as well. I just love Death Rattle on it. Obviously, because of SpongeBob as well.
There's some great production choices on the album. The beginning of Hellbound as well with the flangey guitar.
Yeah.
The phase, brilliant. Just a great band.
Mm.
What can you say?
Absolutely.
Poetry Horizons, we covered. Pearl Jam. 10. Because again, it's the best Pearl Jam album by far. It's just alive, even flow, black, once, release, oceans. What can you say about Jeremy? What can you say? It's a hit. It is a grunge hit compilation as a studio album.
Yeah.
And Pearl Jam have always, their whole career has been a bit hit and miss for me in terms of some of their output. I think they're definitely getting back on track in the last few years with like things like Backspacer and the self-titled album going in the right direction. This is the album that really kind of cemented their legacy in the eons of music culture,
Yeah. Can I mention another album? Because I'm just having a look, and I don't know why I didn't mention...
Well, let me finish the rest of my P's first.
Okay, of course. Yeah, no worries.
I've only got one left. And if you haven't guessed this by now from knowing me, then I don't know what to say, really. It is my boys. It is Puppy. It is the GOAT. Because
tell me more.
A, I have to include my boys in there. And B, I think they're just one of the most exciting up and coming bands in music, with their amalgamation of Deftones / Maiden riffs with Weezer kind of vocals, a kind of weird occult sensibility that they have, an underlying subtext of kind of darkness. They're brilliant. I just love them, and I just wish them all the success in the world going forward. Yeah, I know, Laura, you're absolutely shocked that I picked that. In fairness, it has a good chance of being dethroned out of my 100 because it's currently sitting on 100 in my list.
I'd say, yeah.
So if I rate any more and end up in there, it's probably going to just be outside the top 100. But for now, it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot promote my boys enough. Go and follow Puppy on Twitter. Go and follow him on Instagram. Buy their concert tickets when things get back to normality. They're just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
90s grunge alternative metal with a bit of Maiden thrown in, a bit of Sabbath, actual guitar solos, which is rare for an up and coming band nowadays. Actually, brilliant guitar solos. And I've said my piece. Go and literally said my P's and my piece. So
okay,
KB, your remaining P.
Right, my remaining P, and I'll follow it up with my R's as well. My R's. No. I was gonna say
Your remaining P, and you'll follow it up with your ass.
it's not just the number one. No, Protest the Hero's Volition is always my go-to Protest the Hero album, and I think they just write some fantastic stuff. But that is just the terms of service, everybody. Yeah, it's just always my go-to, and I don't really have a best cue, to be honest. So
I've got a cue in here. I do have a cue in here.
Does it rhyme with Queens of the Hymns of the Home Age?
Hymns of the Home Age. Yeah, it does actually. Yeah,
I thought it might be.
Songs of Death. Rated R was very, very close again, but Songs of the Death is just the album it got me into that kind of hard-edged driving desert rock. Through that album, I found bands like Caius, and that led to bands like Corrosion of Conformity, just bands with riffs, big riffs.
Yeah.
And, I think Josh Homme is an absolute genius. I think he's a brilliant guitar player. I think he's a great songwriter. He has that kind of weird American Gothic kind of sensibility. But also he has very tongue-in-cheek kind of sense of humor as well in a lot of his stuff. This album is just a perfect driving record, and it helps that one of the best drummers of all time, Dave Grohl, plays drums on the album. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Nice.
What can you say, really?
Okay, so ours. This was a very tough choice because, I mean, both these albums are just fantastic, and it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers album, and it's between By the Way and
Californication. What one did you go for?
I think in the end I went for By the Way. I just think
I went for Californication.
I think there's just more for me. There's just more of an array of great songs on there. Like I like some of the top songs on Californication, like Edit Remus and Scar Tissue and Around the World. So for that reason, yeah, it does have a lot of stuff on it. Then you just got By the Way, which I think is just one of my favorite songs. I love Can't Stop's endless intro. If we're giving a shout out to K-Mac. We've got what else?
Minor Thing. I think that's a good tune.
The Zephyr song, Dosed. Universally Speaking, it's just got more of a variety. It's just got more of a songs for me to save and things like that on it.
That's interesting. I might as well get my one out of the way. Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. That album is an instrumental part of my childhood. For one, came out in 1999. It's one of my dad's one of the first CDs I heard that my dad owned, and it's again, the first 6 tracks on this album: Around the World, Parallel Universe, Scar Tissue, Other Side, Get on Top, Californication.
Oh mate, I think I
that is an absolute murderer's row of tracks. Do
you know I am kind of having a change of heart and might change to Californication. They're just too
now
close.
I've said that.
Yeah.
You also have Right on Time and Road Tripping and This Velvet Glove, Emmett Remus. I mean, it's the Chili Peppers. They again another band that are a bit hit and miss for me sometimes.
I do like.
Where did the Blood Sugar rate on your list?
Blood Sugar, what, the album by Red Hot?
Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Because that's pretty good as well. That was very close to dethroning my.
I didn't really rate it on my albums, but I think that they could give it away and Under the Bridge they are really good hits.
Breaking the Girl,
But then you've got later albums like I'm With You is a good overlooked album.
Yes, you know what? I'm With You is actually quite underrated. I think. I think there's some top tunes on that album. Factory of Faith and Brendan's Death Song. A Wrench is a Rain Dance Maggie, Look Around.
Yeah. And I mean,
I think it's certainly the last great album that they've done,
Yeah, because I think some people do tend to shit on Stadium Arcadium, but there's quite a good amount of songs on there, but there are some stinkers on it, like Humpty Bump.
It's just too long, you know. I mean, it's
I know what you mean. But
28 songs. That's too long for an album.
If I had to name like songs that I dislike from bands I love, Humpty Bump would be very high up there for me. I just think it's such a stinker for me. Oh, I just hate it.
Okay, you get that. The thing is,
I'm sorry.
So, Californication, obviously produced by Rick Rubin, who's a bit of a polarizing figure.
Yeah, that's the other thing people go to, isn't it? That Rick Rubin.
They really tapped into something, I think, with Californication for me. I think they had that kind of warm LA summertime sensibility, but they didn't. You know, there was less rapping on this album, and there was more of Anthony Kiedis actually singing. You know, and forging hooks from these songs. You know, and obviously John Frusciante is one of the best guitar players in the world for me. You know, and Flea, one of the best bass players. It's just an absolute super group, really, if you think about it. They've all masters of their instrument, you know. Chad
Smith's not he's not a metal drummer by any means, but he's got some.
Really he performed on Ozzy Osbourne's last album.
Yeah, he's got some real good hooks, or should I say, Will Ferrell?
Yeah, just a fantastic album from beginning to end for me. And it's a classic, you know.
Yeah. So
right. Next, so continue with your R's. Sorry.
Next, I have got Rammstein and. Forgive me with this one. Steph, if you're still in here, just confirm that I've got this right. Sehnsucht.
Yeah, Sehnsucht.
I think that's Sehnsucht. That's probably like the one that has got like it was between that and Mutter for me. Mutter, sorry. You know, you got the title track, which is one of my favorite songs. Pretty goof. Hang on a second. KB goofed. There we go. Angel, Tia, Du hast Buch dich, which I just remember the live video of him like pissing on people. So it's just the bounciest. It's just the bounciest record for me, and I think that's the side of Rammstein that I love. Is that bouncy nature from them.
Yeah.
If you were gonna talk about your favorite, what would you pick from Rammstein?
Oh, probably Mutter, I would say, because it's the first album I heard by them. It's got Sonne on it, which is an absolute masterpiece. It's the first Rammstein song I ever heard, actually, Sonne.
Yeah. It's such.
It has, I believe it has Ich Will on it as well. It's got. Mein Herz brennt. Mein Herz brennt is just.
Yeah, it's it's got. I'd say Mutter has got like a great mix of like the bouncy and the.
The thing that Rammstein do really well, they manage to make it kind of melodramatic and crushing, but not like too saccharine, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, they have a hard edge to them, and they have, you know, as controversial as they are and everything, it's like. They're just really kind of great driving metal songs, you know?
Yeah. So my next R is Real Big Fish with Favorite Noise. You know, how can you pass on songs like I Want Your Girlfriend to Be My Girlfriend, Sellouts, The Setup, Beer, She Has a Girlfriend Now, and the cover.
She Has a Girlfriend Now, that's a tune.
Yeah, like, it was between that and Candy Coated Fury for me. Sell Out, yeah. It's just it's where it's just that middle piece of where Real Big Fish are at the strongest. And to be honest, they've got such a strong back catalogue. It's unreal. Like even their latest album, Life Sucks, Let's Dance, is really fun to listen to. I just think it's
still that footage of me and you singing that when we saw them at Download.
Yeah. I love the song on that, Pissed Off, as well. You got me pissed off. You got me pissed off. It's just
nice shoulder shuffling there. I love that.
I'm a wizard with my shoulders.
It's weird. I don't actually, even though I love Real Big Fish, I don't actually own any of their albums. It's purely off seeing them live. You know, I love them so much. Same with the Interrupters. You know, I've actually. It's not that I don't like their albums. It's just I haven't really listened to their. I've listened to all the singles from those bands. You know, but the singles are so much fun. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'll probably give a dive into the actual albums at some point. But yeah, Real Big Fish is just such a fun. I was at Download, and I was a bit miserable, as you know, really, from the fact the weather was so crap and
Wondering if my leg was going to heal because you care about me so much.
yeah. The weather was. I thought the weather was well, I didn't think the weather was really appalling. The weather was really appalling, and on the Friday, I was just like, oh.
The weather last year in 2019 pulled the Uno card, didn't it? Because usually it rains when the bands are playing, not when we're camping, and that just destroyed the gazebo. Sorry to put even more of a dampener on it.
It was just horrendous weather throughout the entire week,
Yeah.
And I was just a bit worn out and stuff. And then as soon as I saw Real Big Fish in the Avalanche tent, my mood instantly brightened,
Yeah. What they should do is have they should find a way to invent a glass ceiling, not metaphorically, but a glass ceiling over the main stage to cover the whole area.
Wow, that sounds both really expensive and really dangerous. So good luck with that. Anyway,
someone just fires a signal flare into the sky.
Our bands.
Yeah.
Who else you got on your R list?
I have got Rivers of Nihil with Where Owls Know My Name. If you've watched my 2018 Albums of the Year video, then you'll know that was my number one. It's just like sort of death metal and technical play at its finest for me. It's got something for everyone on the album. The Silent Life, A Home is just one of my one of the favorite songs I've listened to in the past 10 years. Also got Old Nothing as well, which is just ultimate sort of death metal song. Subtle Change. It's just got it all really, and it was very hard to top it for that year. I've also got in consideration as well Past, Present and Future by Rob Zombie. I think that is quite a fun album to listen to.
Is that a studio album or is that Greatest Hits?
Is it Pat? Oh, is it? Oh, sorry,
I think that sounds like a Greatest Hits to me. We're going purely with studio albums. I was looking
at my Spotify. I guess I don't know Rob Zombie too well. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No. Rob Zombie is. I feel like it's a Greatest Hits album. But I feel like he there's definitely a chance Astro Creep 2000 could get on my list.
Mm-hmm.
The White Zombie studio album.
Yeah. But I've got, how much I like Royal Republic. I've got Club Majesty on there.
Nice.
It's just got it's got some bangers on it, like Fireman and Dancer, Can't Fight the Disco. It's just some of that happy rock that you just love to dance to. For me,
I've never actually listened to that whole album. It came out 2 years ago, didn't it?
Yeah,
I heard Anna Lee from it, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, you've also got We Are the Royal as well, which has got. Actually, no. Let's go with We Are the Royal for this one, actually, because it's got Full Steam Space Machine on it, Tommy Gun, All Because of You, President's Daughter. So it's between that and I
it's a close one. Yeah, We Are the Royals. Yeah,
We Are the Royal. Decent. Yeah. So that's my R's. What would you pick for your R's?
Okay, right. So just sweeping through these. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled debut.
Yep.
Because again, it's the best Rage Against the Machine album, and Rage Against the Machine are awesome. It has Killing in the Name on it. It has Know Your Enemy. It has Bomb Track. It has Wake Up. What can you say about this band? They're so important, so influential. And so for a band that really likes to wear their heart on their sleeves in terms of their politics, they're so catchy as well. Their songs are so undeniably catchy, Thoughts on that band, Kevin?
Yeah. Sorry, I just failed at adding a command. Yeah, I think in terms of I would probably go with Renegades as my favourite Rage Against the Machine album.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I like the.
It's a
I like
covers one, isn't it?
Pistol Grip Pump. Is that a?
Yeah, it's a covers album.
Is it?
Renegades.
Oh, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake! What's going on with me today?
But if you think it's your favourite Rage Against the Machine album, then fair enough.
Yeah, well, if we're going with yeah, I'd probably go with the title, the debut, if that's the case, then, or Battle of Los Angeles. Fuck's
Nice.
sake, I don't know music as much as I thought I did. Right, what else you got?
What else I got? The Ramones.
Yeah,
This again was quite tough, because they're one of my favourite bands ever. They're just so integral and influential and intelligent, all the eyes you can think of. I ultimately went with Too Tough to Die from 1984, produced by Ed Stasium, as I mentioned, and Tommy Ramone. It's the best, that first group of 4 albums, the Ramones self-titled, followed by Leave Home, then Rocket to Russia, then Road to Ruin. That run of 4 albums is like, you can't get a better run of 4 albums than that. Too Tough to Die because it's a harder edged Ramones and it's a more experimental Ramones in terms of stuff and I just think the songs are really strong in that and really hooky and really cool. Mondo Bizarro is another great Ramones album.
yeah,
I could pick really any of those, but this really is my personal favorite. It came down to kind of personal taste, I think, with this one, because I just think they're one of the best bands who ever did it,
yeah,
And I said on Beez's stream, if I could go back in time, I'd want to see the Clash. The Ramones would probably be second on my list, or third, along with Nirvana.
yeah.
So,
Okay, yeah,
and sorry, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication, like I said. Last Star Band, Rush, Moving Pictures.
I've never been big on Rush, but I respect.
It's Rush. They're another band that acquired taste, shall we say?
Yeah.
I think Rush are very hit and miss. I think for a lot of people, when they get it right and when they have the right marriage of riffs and technicality and hookiness and catchiness, they absolutely get it right, And this is a band that is absolutely getting it right on this album because it has Tom Sawyer, which is like, you can't, when Neil Peart died last year, Tom Sawyer was immediately the first song I thought of about the legacy he left for drummers,
Yeah.
That drum solo in Tom Sawyer where it's just all over the place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Limelight as well, which is just an outstanding tune with brilliant riffage on it from Alex Lifeson, who I don't think gets enough credit as a guitar player again. But then again, when you're a band with Geddy Lee and Neil Peart, it's a bit hard really to stand out.
Yeah.
They're just such a talent. They were just such a talented, vital band. I feel like it's only fair I included a Rush album in my list, and that is the one for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your last star, is it?
That's my last star. Let's move on to S.
Yeah, I'll just give an honourable mention to the Rasmus with their album titled Discography, and then I'll move on to my S. Lol. So my first S album would be a band that I was so gutted when they split up, and that's Shadows Fall with their album The War Within.
Now, have they split up or are they on hiatus technically?
Probably hiatus, I'd say. I mean, there is kind of signs of them getting back together. I think I feel sorry for Shadows Fall because their latest album is an absolute banger from I think it was 2014, Fire from the Sky. It's just so good.
2012 actually.
2012, and they ended on such a high note with that. The War Within is just always the one I go back to, whether it's
I do have that album. I picked it up in Reckless Records in Soho for quite cheap. But I love Act of Contrition and I love What Drives the Week so far. Those are the only 2 tracks I've actually rated so far. But
Those Who Cannot Speak is my favorite off the album. Eternity Is Within has got an awesome intro for me, and Ghost of Past Failures. And then if we're talking Guitar Hero, we've got The Light That Blinds. I remember being in the Black Crusade gig, and like there was a wall of death when The Light That Blinds was on. It was insane.
So like Shadows Fall, just Massachusetts metalcore. You can't really get much better than that, you know.
Yeah. You've also got The Art of Balance, which would probably be either that.
Yeah,
or
that's
Five
the other
from
one
Sky,
I
which
need
is
to
my
rate.
second favorite.
And the other one I have as well.
Like for some reason they took Thread of Life off Spotify. It's not Thread of Life. I think they went a bit softer on it.
They kind of went a bit freshier on Threads of Life, didn't they?
Kind of, yeah. Because they were a bit more sort of metalcore / thrash.
Yeah, this was This is more of a thrash metal album, I would say, than a metalcore album. Threads of Life.
Yeah, I would say so. Next, we've got Shadow of Intent with Melancholy. Absolute fantastic songwriting there, and just I think the growls that the lead singer puts forward are they just complement it so well. And you've just got like you go into Melancholy, and some of the tempo that goes on with the drums and things is just like you can't imagine it. It's like it's so fast. And then I showed one to you on Listen to This, didn't I? I showed you Grave Singer. It's a well-constructed song. Then you've also got Dirge of the Void. And even I know, I've already said the title track. Shadow of Intent, bear with me a second. We've got Malediction. Fantastic end to an album. Just absolute, like if you've got something that mixes like deathcore with symphony, this is like one of the go-to albums for that. And Reclaimer is also a brilliant album as well. You know, but I think Melancholy is just the absolute, it's just the top. Next we've got Slayer. Now Slayer has got such a big they've got quite a big back catalogue. Even some of the albums that they released post 2000 are good, like Will Painting Blood, and I do like Christ Illusion. I wasn't big on Repentless, to be honest. I thought there was quite a few elements missing from them. But for me, it's got to be South of Heaven. South of Heaven, it's got Silent Scream, the title
Dead
track.
Skin Mask, is that on South of Heaven?
I think that's on soundtrack to your soundtrack to Apocalypse or whatever it's called. No, Seasons in the Abyss. Why am I on that soundtrack? Yeah, Ghosts of War Behind the Crooked Cross. I think it's just one of the most sinister Slayer albums. Then we've got quite an underrated one, because I feel like these guys deserve so much more praise than they get, and from me especially. And this is Sleep Token and their album Sundowning. Such a beautiful. Have you listened to the song The Offering?
I have. I can't remember, but I have listened to that album, and I thought it was all right. Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought, I
prefer Sleep Token's EPs, but I thought that album, Night Doesn't Belong to God. I have listened to The Offering, yeah, great. The Night Does Not Belong to God, Dark Signs Higher, and Bloodsport. I all quite like from that album.
Yeah, I just think it's Sleep Token. They're gonna go somewhere someday, definitely. Like, they've got, I wouldn't say a cult following, but they definitely got a good following behind them, and
I think it's more than a cult following at this point. I think they're in contention to have a proper audience,
Yeah. This one probably might rustle a few feathers, because normally when it comes to Slipknot, Iowa is the one that people pick, either that or the Self-Titled. It's not those, and it's not Volume 3 either. It's not All Hope Is Gone, and it's not Point 5.
So it's We Are Not Your Kind then?
Yeah.
It's a great album, We Are Not Your Kind. It really is.
I think it's interesting because, like, the more an album grows on you, and the more you take time to kind of look at it in retrospect.
Yeah, that album grew on me as well. We Are Not Your Kind.
We Are Not Your Kind is just got this, it's got this very dark kind of atmosphere, and it's got some great highlights off it, and I'm quite glad. Some people criticize it for lack of solos, but Slipknot aren't meant for this. They're not known for their solos, so I don't think it really matters.
I mean, well, Jim Root's a great guitarist,
And some of the weaker albums are the ones that are more technical and things. Slipknot are known to be like gritty, and I think We Are Not Your Kind,
more percussive, more rhythmic, and tribal sounding.
Yeah, and I think We Are Not Your Kind brought a lot of that back, and I think songs like Critical Darling, Not Long for This World, I think is an underrated masterpiece.
Oh, Birth of the Cruel.
Birth of the Cruel.
Brilliant. And Nero Forte, of course, and Solway Firth.
Yeah,
all brilliant.
Solway Firth is probably my favourite off the album.
Definite return to form, I think, after
fantastic.
The disappointment that was, I think, the Grey Chapter.
Yeah, like I don't want to shit on the Grey Chapter too much because I didn't.
Obviously, the circumstances of making it, were quite hard and everything, but it's my least favourite Slipknot album, I think, Grey Chapter.
Yeah, I just think it left a little bit to be desired. So that's pretty much what I'll say.
Well, for me, it's Iowa, hands down. We're Not Calm was very close. The self-titled was very close. Iowa just tapped into something, I don't think there's been a more like gritty, dark, disgusting album from a mainstream band, since then.
Yeah.
It's really, it's really hard to listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
You can tell Corey and the rest of them were going through a lot of shit at that time. But at the same time, they made an album which is so pulsating and dark and riffy and hooky and deep, and atmospheric. I don't think Iowa gets enough credit for some of his the song Iowa is so atmospheric and gloomy. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think my least favorite Slipknot album would probably still be All Hope Is Gone. I just think I think that was probably. I think they said that was their least favorite album to make because it was very different people having different ideas.
Yeah, and then I'm with Roddy in our chat. He says a lot of people. I think a lot of people would have Chapter 5 as their least favourite, me included. Iowa would be mine. Yeah, that's spot on for me as well.
I feel like, for me, it's the quality of Chapter 5, the production of it felt a bit thin.
I just don't think the songs were particular. Custer is just like one of my least favourite Slipknot songs ever. I think it's just
I like
so dunderheaded, that song.
Yeah, I like Sarcastrophe, and I like If Rain Is What You Want. I think those are some of the
AOV
best.
Is pretty good as well.
AOV is good, yeah. Negative
in
One. In
general, I never go back to that album. Really.
Yeah. Then we've got now Soilwork is a bit of an interesting one. I think this is got to be a bit of a tie, unless I can come up with a decision now. But there's so many different ones. Like you've got The Ride Majestic, Fantastics, Panic Broadcast, Living Infinite, Death Resonance. I can't pick right now, so I'm gonna have to skip that one, unfortunately. But those are my picks. Svalbard, When I Die, Will I Get Better? Again, I can't say it enough that there are emotions brought out in this album that I didn't think were possible.
It's a beautiful record.
Yeah,
it really is.
So
very, very close to my top 100. It just missed out.
Yeah. And I think this year it's probably Harakiri for the Skies moment in that sort of stuff because there is such beautiful songs on that as well. But Svalbard are sort of they kind of pioneers in their own right for that kind of sound as well. They have brought something new to the table.
Punk / shoegaze atmosphere style, But they've got stuff to say as well, and it's ugly stuff and it's stuff that's hard to swallow, but it's they're important songwriters, I think, in this day and age.
Definitely. Next, I've got Stone Sour, and it's got to be the House of Golden Bones. I
I've
mean,
gone
it's
for the self-titled album personally.
fair enough.
Actually, that also just didn't quite make my top 100, but it was in contention.
Yeah. I think the House of Golden Bones, I think, is just where they reached their all-time peak. It had like such a great array.
Which are we talking? Both albums.
I would say if I was to pick between the two, I would go for part one. If you had to ask me which one do I like better, yeah, definitely part one. But in terms of like talking about both of them, because they're both like supposed to be in sort of comparison with each other, I think Gone Sovereign and Absolute Zero kind of mix into each other very well. You've got A Rumour of Skin, Tired, I think is I love Corey's songwriting on that one. RU486, which is one of my favourite heavy Stone Sour songs. Tactiturn, which is a nice like sort of acoustic soft song. Influence of a Drowsy God, The Last of the Real, quite a bit of a dancer, that one. And then on part two, I quite like Red City and Black John. It was a bit, I think it was a bit darker, the part two, because you got Peckinpah, Gravesend, 82, Do Me a Favor, which I loved this when it came out, because it was just like, it was that, like I said, it was just that one, you just want to sing the chorus to it. Do me a favor, your behavior. I just love that.
Do me a favor,
and I love. Do me a favor, slag. Yeah. And I love the lyrics in that song as well. I'm an anti-everything man. A stab on. Sorry, I can't remember the rest of it, but fall on your sword is all I need to get you to fall on your sword. And like Hydrograd, I don't think is too bad. It's just I can't really cater much to the sound of it, the quality of it compared to House of Golden Bones. I think that it's just got much better.
The first three for me, Stone Sour are funny, but I think the first three are good. Come Whatever May, the self-titled, and Audio Secrecy, and then after that, it just fell off a cliff for me.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah. No. Then we've got Silosis and Edge of the Earth. And hi, Simi, how's it going? Edge of the Earth. Now, this one does get criticised for the length of it, but I think in terms of like the pure songwriting and how they were able to bounce back from Jamie leaving the band, I think Josh did absolute wonders to get this album sounded the way it did, and it just like... It's got quite an original sound to it compared to Conclusion of an Age, which I do love as well. But there's so much, so many desires fulfilled on this album that I can't really, can't really knock it. They followed up with what's it called? Monolith. Sorry, Monolith. Great, but I think it was a bit less. It was a bit less technical. Dormant Heart kind of had more of a filled sort of atmospheric kind of sound, and the latest one aims to be a bit more cohesive. But I think it's
they're a band I'm probably going to go back on after hearing Cycle of Suffering, which again just didn't quite make my top 100, but I thought it was a brilliant album. I'll probably backtrack and go past like Dormant Heart and Monolith and whatever. But yeah, they're definitely a band I tried with, and then last year it just clicked for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, then we've got System of a Down. Most people would say Toxicity, but I'm gonna say Mesmerize.
I've gone with Toxicity.
I think
because it's flawless.
BYOB, Cigaro, Radio Video, Violent Pornography,
Mesmerize
Question,
is very good though.
Sad Statue, Old School Hollywood. I just think that's just the perfect mix of songs for me.
Violent Pornography is great.
Everybody fucks.
That's such a funny song when we were growing up, but I just I love the groove to it and the tongue-in-cheekness of it, as well. Yeah, Revenger is great. Question is great. Sad Statue is great. For me, Toxicity is just virtually flawless. You know,
I can see, yeah.
It's one of those albums where every track is an absolute banger on the few albums, and that ranks very high on my list as well.
I do quite like Deer Dances off that album, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, then my last S is going to be Sum 41 with Chuck. That is like my, in terms of like turning punk rock or punk pop into like thrash, it just hit the nail on the head for me. We're All to Blame, you know, brings me memories of Godzilla. The Bitter End, which people usually compare to Battery by Metallica, but, you know, I can forgive them for that. It's still a great song in its own right. I'm not the only one. Pieces are just one of their best songs, bar none. 88 and Newts, some of my highlights off the album. I just think it's just...
Is this when they went a bit more kind of metal sounding?
Yeah, so I think... Yeah, because I think they... Like, I think it was like... Because I think they kind of went back to like a sort of a mix with Does This Look Infected? And then they kind of mixed it up more with like 13 Voices, which I thought was a fantastic album as well. I don't know if people prefer Order to Decline, but I'm more of a 13 Voices kind of guy. I think it's just... I think it's got...
They're definitely one of those bands I need to... I know the singles, obviously, and the main singles.
If people ask me if I'm more of a Blink-182 or Sum 41 kind of guy, I would always side with Sum 41.
Well, they're more metal sounding, I guess, particularly later on.
But they got that emotional side down as well, and that's
it's just fun music, you know, to listen to.
Yeah, definitely.
And from what I heard, you know, I quite liked it. I need to dig in a bit more, you know.
Yeah. All right, so your S is...
So my S then.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I missed out one. Slash World on Fire.
Oh,
I forgot. I skipped over it on my list for some reason. I don't know what it is about the chemistry between Miles and Slash, but it's just... It is so good, you know, like... And Slash really comes into his own with the songwriting in this album, and it's just got such a great mix of those classic sort of riffs that you'd hear from Guns N' Roses. It's a bit of a blast from the past, isn't it? A sort of oh, I don't know why I played that. Sorry, I was trying to click on the album, but it brought up the song instead, the title track. But World on Fire 2014, World on Fire, just trying to get the name of the song. Dissident is just an absolute fantastic song, as well as Avalon. Yeah.
I like Slash's first solo album where he brought in all the guest singers.
Yeah, I just think his best work, like elsewhere, is with Miles Kennedy and maybe Velvet Revolver as well. When he was in with them. Yeah.
Cool. Great stuff. So yeah, my S choices. I'm going to go through theirs just so I don't forget about them first. The bands. So, the Stone Roses. This album really was so influential for a lot of bands, including Oasis. It's just pure, brilliant, psychedelic, Manchester, as they call it, jangle pop. And Ian Brown's lyrics, which are quite dark, you know, on that album, in occasion, particularly on stuff like Made of Stone, which basically talks about a car accident. And I Want to Be Adored has She Bangs the Drums on it. I Am the Resurrection, which probably has the best bridge of any song ever. That rhythm section in that band, like, Rennie is just an unbelievable drummer in terms of groove and everything. Utterly brilliant. And it's such a shame that you know, they've got such a fractious relationship with each other. and that Rennie refuses to kind of drum on any other album. Well, not refuses, but you never see him do anything else other than the Stone Roses, because such a waste of his talents, because he's a brilliant drummer. Manny is a fantastic bass player, really locked in grooviness to his bass lines, and John Squire is just one of the best guitar players, in terms of feel and jangliness, and he's up there with Johnny Marr in terms of that kind of style. And just a really important, influential, great, hooky, sunshiny, jangly poppy album. And it's a must-have, really, if you're into indie rock and British music. Stooges, Raw Power. This is Iggy Pop's finest hour, I think. Still, a lot of people would go with Funhouse or The Idiot, but for me, Raw Power really. It is what it says. It's a 1973 this came out, right? For at least 4 years, I would say, before the explosion of punk happened. This is a proto-punk record which has tunes for date. There's only 8 songs on it, but they're all unbelievably great songs. Search and Destroy, the title track, Raw Power, Gimme Danger, Penetration, which has like one of the grooviest, sexiest riffs you'll ever hear. James Williamson is a brilliant guitarist as well, very overlooked. And of course, you have the shamanic showmanship of Iggy Pop fronting it all with his delivery and everything. Let's see. It hurt me to put this album in, given how much of a melt Johnny Rotten is nowadays, but it has to be the Sex Pistols with Nevermind the Bollocks, because it's just a milestone, landmark record. And the songwriting and the sneeriness and the Steve Jones's rock and roll anthemic riffage on that. He also played all the bass on that album. Not many people know that, because Sid Vicious didn't even play on that album, partly because he couldn't play, at all. But he was only there for image. But he was actually in hospital at the time with jaundice. So Steve Jones actually played all the bass on that album, apart from Anarchy in the UK, which was Glenn Matlock. And Paul Cook as well, kicking it on the drums. Just a really important album, an influential and essential album at the right time, in human history.
Yeah.
Anarchy in the UK, God Save the Queen, just absolute classics, really. And I'll say no more than that. Right, back up to my other S's. I've got a lot of S bands on this. Slipknot, Iowa, like I said. Smashing Pumpkins with Siamese Dream. I had to include a Pumpkins album on there because they were just such a big influence on my own songwriting, and Billy Corgan's brilliant songwriter. Melancholy didn't quite make it, just because the side 2 of that album is there's a lot of filler on that, I think. Siamese Dream is just consistent all the way through in its brilliance. And you have songs like Cherub Rock, Disarm, Today, Mayonnaise, brilliant, jangly kind of alternative song. There's a brilliant sadness about the Pumpkins,
Yeah.
Sadness in a kind of, but in a beautiful way,
Yeah.
And I think it's a pick and choose really for your favorite Smashing Pumpkins record, because they're also quite diverse with their styles.
Yeah, exactly.
You have electronica on Monuments to Analogy. You have like psychedelic kind of trip hoppiness on Adore, but like this one, it's when they were kind of fully in the midst of the grunge thing, and brilliant alternative rock songs. What can I say, really? Silverchair, Freak Show. I do like a bit of Silverchair, and I think just a solid collection of brilliant grungy alternative rock songs at such a young age as well. They were like only in like their teens when they recorded this album,
Yeah.
1997. So it was the very tail end of grunge, 1997, but they were still kind of doing their best to fly the flag, and I think great songs on that album.
Yeah.
Smoking Popes Born to Quit didn't quite make it. 101, that's on my list. But if you like I mentioned Buffalo Tom in the last Key Art podcast. If you like that indie / alternative 90s stuff in the vein of REM, then this lot are for you. Soundgarden, Super Unknown. Just one of the greatest records of all time, really. Black Hole Sun, My Wave, Let Me Drown, Head Down, Fell on Black Days, Day I Tried to Live. It's just an outstanding collection of dark rock songs, you know. And Chris Cornell's voice and his power, just something that will never ever be replicated, ever. And that made it very high on my list. Interesting one here. Squirrel Bait, Skag Heaven, which has actually made it very high on my list. I don't even know who these guys are. Or a lot of people know who these guys are. But the band... hang on, let me just see what's the name of the band they formed afterwards, because it might be quite a well-known band for a lot of people. But this album kind of, again, similar to Naked Raygun in kind of that sort of late 80s kind of emo-tinged punk rock, you know?
Yeah.
And just brilliant melodic lines and hooks in that. Yeah, what? Oh, come on. There's a big band that they formed after this, which is on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot remember the name of them. David Grant, best friend is PSC. Is this him? No. Right, man. Slint. That was the name of the band. So Slint, very influential kind of post-rock / punk band, you know, in the mid-90s. Very, very influential. But this was the band that Brian McMahon was in before that band existed. Squirrelbait, just, yeah, dense, moody, melodic hardcore, as Wikipedia describes it, and just utterly brilliant from beginning to end. And it's found some surprisingly high on my list.
There's so many bands with S's for us, isn't it? It's interesting.
What are you saying?
I said there's so many bands for us beginning with S, isn't it?
Beginning with S, I know. I'm still not done. I'll try and push my way through it. This one you'll like, Roddy, if you're still out there. Stiff Little Fingers, Inflammable Material. You know, punk from the late 70s with a proper message behind it, you know, and a proper disaffected kind of sounding punk album, you know. And Jake Burns with his screaming, you know, properly screams on this album, you know, as well. And, you know, yells about the troubles and what was going on in Northern Ireland at the time. Just brilliant riffs, punk energy in that band. And I saw them supporting Green Day in Hyde Park, and they've still got it, you know. Just one of those timeless bands, you know, that are very influential. And finally, yeah, we already talked about Toxicity for System of a Down, just flawless. Finally, for my S's, Stone Temple Pilots. And this is a dead heat between Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop, and Core as my favorite album.
Ooh.
And honestly, it would vary depending on the day, because they're both as good as each other. Quite literally, I've rated all the tunes from those albums out of 5, and they're at a dead heat between each other. For now, probably I'll probably give a shout out more to Tiny Music, because I feel like that album gets kind of overlooked really in the history of Stone Temple Pilots, because it was around the time when Scott Weiland got arrested for heroin possession. They didn't actually properly tour that album, which is a shame, because it's a brilliant collection of kind of neo-psychedelic, you know, atmospheric, very jazzy almost Stone Temple Pilots songs. They were definitely moving away from the grunge thing at this point, you know, and trying to actually branch out songwriting-wise, which is another reason why I like it, the diversity of the songs on that. Art School Girl and, you know, Big Bang Baby, some great tunes on that. Yeah, and that concludes my S bands. So sorry, that was a bit long-winded.
No,
but,
that's completely fine. Like, like Roddy said, S is a stacked letter.
Yeah,
for
S
sick
is
bands.
indeed a stacked letter for sick bands.
Yeah, well, it's
Same.
pretty much after T. It's difficult to find bands beginning with those, so it's a rarer amount of albums that come under them. For me at least, I've got 4 that I could talk about. So my first one is the good old Thornhill, The Dark Pool. There's not a lot of metalcore albums that I really rate this high, but I think they just touched on a totally fresh idea, totally fresh ideas with this album. Like Lily and the Moon is sort of about, I think it's about his dog getting old, and about
I believe you played me that song on this podcast. Yeah,
it's about his dog nearing death and him like asking like questions. We want to know what happens, when our pets go and things like that. And it's, for that, it's a really, really heart-wrenching kind of song. And then it's just got some great hooks, some great riffs to go along with it. And I think the pure emotion that goes into it is just fantastic, and it's got the fantastic atmosphere in it as well. Next, I will talk about my favorite Tool album. It was between Anima and Anima or Lateralus, and I have to go with Lateralus for me. Lateralus.
Lateralis.
Yeah, Lateralis. KB goofed again. I think you've got The Patient, Schism, Parabola, Ticks and Leeches, Lateralis. Just, this is the album.
No, I went with Anima personally.
Yeah,
Anima, how we pronounce it.
I for me, this I like the progressive nature of Tool, but I think the problem for me with the latest album was that it kind of took forever to get into the good parts. For me, I don't know.
They got a bit carried away with some of the instrumentation in the last album, and I just wish that we had a Maynard scream somewhere, because it warranted some of the parts. Like on Tempest, you're like, there's build up, and you're like, is Maynard going to let loose with a scream? No, he just sings normally.
Yeah, whereas
it's still a great album, in my opinion. I like everything Tool have done, but could have just done with something like that, to really flesh out, the power of those songs.
Yeah, whereas for me, Lateralis has that happy medium of the progressive nature and what they carried over from previous albums. And, I absolutely love Undertow as well. I think that is like a strong debut record.
Tool were just brilliant for me. Like
brilliant
last year, saw them at Download. They're one of the most mesmerizingly brilliant bands I've ever seen live.
Yeah.
Felt privileged to be there and see them in action.
Yeah.
Anima, I mean, you can argue some of the interludes are kind of unnecessary a bit, but as far as the songs go, they're just powerful, visceral, atmospheric songs.
Yeah.
Like the song Anima, which is I love Maynard's lyricism on Anima as well. The tongue-in-cheek kind of Bill Hicks inspired lyrics about the end of the world coming,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that's Tool for me, and
Brilliant
then my last one. A lot of Trivium albums that have come out, and I always said like Sin in a Sentence for me had surpassed what they'd done before, and then What the Dead Men Say just got even better for me, and it's just really stands the test of time in what Trivium are capable of doing. Adding Alex to the band has created a whole new array of opportunities for them, because he is so gifted as a drummer. It's like him doing those the drum parts that he does is so effortless to him. It's unreal. And you see it on his face. Like I remember, I think it was I remember seeing that Kieran Gaffney on Britain's Got Talent, and he was like when he's doing it. But if Alex was playing, he'd be like, "What's that you looking at?"
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, sorry.
Ridiculous drama.
I think
my Trivium album would be Ascendancy, personally.
Fair enough.
It's between that and In Waves, and Ascendancy just won out. I just think, powerful, simple, stripped down metalcore.
Yeah, I just think like the things that are polished on What the Dead Men Say. I like Matt's voice is as great as it ever has been. I think he has like worked.
I like the way Matt's. I like the fact that Matt is taking care of his voice now.
Yeah,
Because on Ascendancy, he literally sounds like he's going to rip his own throat vocal cords out.
and to be honest, he's admitted that's
And that's part of the reason why I love that album so much.
Yeah, I mean,
so visceral.
But like, I mean, he was doing it live as well, and like he went back to it when he was doing In Waves and Shogun, which to me Shogun is one of my favorites as well. Like my top three would be Shogun, Sin in the Sentence, and What the Dead Men Say. But I think What the Dead Men Say has just got my favorite kind of original songs on it. Like What the Dead Men Say, the title track is fantastic. What's it called? Catastrophist is just this long, progressive, unexpected song that with twists and turns. Amongst the Shadows and Stones, probably the best song for me in the album. The Defiant, a bit of a callback to Ascendancy. Sickness Unto You. Even a radio song like Bleed Into Me or Scattering the Ashes. They're great in their own rights because they still got something to be desired. And yeah, in that sense of it, it's just it really hits home for me. The last album, because I just picked up one now, Phantom Armor by Tooth Grinder. Like they've supported Trivium before, and I remember when just going into this album and listening to The Shadow, I was just blown away by it because it's just got that sort of it's got that great mix of like heavy hard rock / metal lyric riffs mixed in with this shoegaze effect, and it just this is the album that just really I just tend to go back to with them. It's the rhythmic nature of it just really allows me to kind of just like fade into another world with it, so yeah.
Cool. I'm going to smash through my teas because I'm a bit conscious of the time at the moment.
Yeah, no worries.
Gaggling on for a while. Teenage Wrist, Earth is a Black Hole. You've heard me talk enough about this album, so
that good, is it?
Yeah, it's a bit good. It was released a few weeks ago, and it's already cemented itself in my top 100 albums, and that really tells you all you need to know. Could have chosen Chrome Neon Jesus, and in fact, that was actually my list before I had to swap it over with this one because we were doing one album per band. I just think it's brilliant. Shows how far they've come as songwriters, and it's alternative rock / shoegazy / 90s sensibility that I just absolutely love, and it's well in there. Polaris by Tesseract. It was between Polaris and Altered State, and Altered State would probably make it on another day, but for now it's Polaris because that for me is the strongest collection of Dan Tompkins songs in Tesseract's back catalogue. It just really melodic, really cool, very, very technical, and his voice is just so mesmerizing when he gets going, Dan Tompkins. And obviously they're all brilliant musicians technically, Jay Poststones is a brilliant, amazing drummer. Amos kills it on the bass. Akil Kaney with his, syncopated guitar rhythms, which I still can't replicate, no matter how hard I try. And just that he's a great producer as well. So yeah, just brilliant progressive metal band. Right, tease. I've got the tea. Polaris. Yeah, Times of Grace, Hymn of a Broken Man. This album is a very, very important album to me.
Yeah.
And it's actually in my top 5 albums of all time. Times of Grace, if you don't know, it is the side project of Jesse Leach and Adam D from Killswitch Engage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically Killswitch Engage if they added post-rock / shoegaze elements into their sound. And Adam D sings a lot more on these albums. On this album, it's their one album so far, and I cannot wait because apparently they've got a follow-up in the works that's due to come out this year. I cannot wait for it.
It's going to be interesting to hear, personally.
But this album, so emotional and so beautiful to listen to at the same time, whilst also being crushingly heavy at points,
Yeah.
And that's just everything I like wrapped up in 13 brilliant songs,
All right, nice. Anything else?
What can I say? Do you have any thoughts on that Times of Grace thing?
I haven't listened to them enough to say, unfortunately, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Sure. Tom Robinson Band, another one for Roddy, Power in the Darkness. Very late 70s, new wave / punk rock. But again, Tom is a guy who has a lot to say about a lot of stuff. Openly gay musician in the punk scene in the late 70s in Britain. And he obviously kind of covers those issues to an extent, covers various social issues. I also I saw him live in a very intimate venue in Wavendon, near where I live, do this album in full. And he's still got it, man. He still has that kind of very sort of sardonic sense of humor, and he's I just love the fact he promotes new acts as well on his radio show as well. Lovely guy to chat to as well, and I got a picture with him as well. But this album was another very important band in terms of highlighting social issues within punk rock,
Yeah.
Tool, Anima, already covered that. This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Tremonti, All I Was.
Which is that? The first one?
He's the guitar player in Alter Bridge.
Oh no, I know who he is, but I'm just like, which album's that? Because if I had to pick a Tremonti album, I would
it's
go
his
with
debut. It's his debut album.
I would personally go with The Dying Machine, his latest one. I just think that is his pinnacle.
I think All I Was is just. I think he's a fantastic singer, Tremonti.
Yeah, he is brilliant.
I think he's obviously a brilliant guitar player as well. Just a simple, solid collection of alt metal.
I love his custom guitars as well.
Tunes, I'd probably rank it higher than a lot of the Alter Bridge albums I've heard. In fair, I just love his voice, man. His approach to songwriting and his hooky chorus. These choruses on this album are so hooky and brilliant,
Yeah.
Trivium Ascendancy we've already covered, and finally for my tea, I've got Typo Negative, Bloody Kisses.
Ooh. Got a bit of
Typo in there because they've just been all over my radar the past year or so, listening, researching about Pete Steele and the band and looking up documentaries about them. I absolutely adore their marriage between gothic rock / metal and Beatles melodies and harmonies, and the call and response stuff between Pete Steele and Kenny Hickey. Josh Silver's atmospheric keyboards in the background really are kind of a very unique band.
Yeah.
And just a staple of the gothic metal genre, and you need to go and check them out if you haven't already. Right. Do you have any albums for you?
No, I just checked and I was like, I can't find anything.
Nor do I. So that's good. What about V?
Nope. I go all the way to W.
Nor do I. That's good. We're plowing through the last bit. W.
Yes. So I have 2 for W. That I managed to scrap out.
I also have 2 for W.
First one. Now I didn't expect myself to put like a post-hardcore album on here, but I think this one is just based on the kind of the the kind of nature behind it, and the fact that sadly, one of the singers passed away just after this album, and it passed away on such a high note for this album. It's quite emotional. So I had to go with "We Came as Romans" with "Cold Like War."
Oh, nice.
They stepped into new territory with this album, and some of the hooks that they wrote for this album just really, they really are memorable. Especially the title track, "Two Hands" is so epic. "Wasted Age," another one, "Foreign Fire," and "Lost in the Moment." Yeah, just some good shouts for that album. And then the last W would be "While She Sleeps" with "You Are We." For an independently produced album, well, actually no, that's a bit of a backhanded compliment. I won't go there. It's just for the sheer.
No, I know what you mean. Though I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it's just.
It sounds huge for like a band that was basically just them doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it is the most epic sounding album to date, and some of the songwriting and some of the guitar riffs are just fantastic. Like "Hurricane" is probably the best off that album, but you've also got Wide Awake. You've got some fun-loving songs like "Feel," "Settle Down Society," "Steel Sun," "Revolt," "In Another Now." It's just jam-packed with this sort of stuff. So I can't pass on it. I've also got Whitechapel with their latest album, which is "The Valley." I think they stepped into new territory there with deathcore as well, and I've talked about that in my 2019 list.
Do you think you'll be able to get me into some Whitechapel?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've got some stuff that you might like, especially with the latest album, because they do go a bit more melodic with their latest album, and it really works well. Yeah, "The Valley" is just a fantastic album.
So "While She Sleeps," are you looking forward to their new record then?
Yeah, definitely. Like from what I've heard already, it sounds huge already, and it sounds like it's gonna have like a fantastic message behind it. I'm looking forward to a lot of the stuff that's gonna come out this year, most definitely.
Yeah, cool. All right, is that all your albums for W then?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I've only got 2 for W. Weezer, and a few people might be surprised in this choice. I've gone for the Green Album. Because I think it's the most accessible Weezer album that also has the best tunes on it, if that makes sense. With Pinkerton and with the Blue Album, they go kind of weird on it, and that didn't necessarily do that much for me on those records, Whereas the Green Album, I think it's a concise, brilliant collection of well-written pop songs,
Yeah.
And very nicely produced. And Hash Pipe is brilliant, and Island in the Sun, Photograph. Weezer are one of those kind of long-standing sort of almost in jokes, and like, oh, what Weezer album we're going to get next? Is it going to be any good or isn't it?
Yeah.
When they hit form, they definitely hit form,
Yeah.
And this album is a good example. Don't Let Go as well, which is just a massive tune. Knock Down, Drag Out, Simple Pages. There's some bangers on this album,
Yeah.
And long may Weezer continue. And I'm very much looking forward to their Van Weezer album from this year. OK Human was actually very, very good. Their release from this year. Very little guitars, lots of Beach Boys style strings and harmonies on it. Very, very cool album.
Yeah.
The other W band, the Wild Hearts. Earth versus the Wild Hearts.
Nice.
This band, man, I just love their marriage between hard rock riffs, punk attitude, and Beatles-esque like melodies and harmonies. Hooks for days on this album, and the Wild Hearts are always brilliant live. Whenever I've seen them. And Ginger is a force of nature, and he wears his heart on his sleeve for sure when he sings. He doesn't shy away from any topics, and good on him, I say. And long live the Wild Hearts, and long may they continue.
Okay.
Right, so X. I'll be very surprised if you have any albums for X.
No, the only album I got saved in Spotify is Xyle, but I can't really put their albums on there now. I go right down to Y, and then there's one Z.
Yeah, okay, Y then.
All right, so this is another kind of nostalgic album for me. It was kind of like an alternative to all that kind of post-hardcore stuff, but I had to go with Young Guns, All Our Kings Are Dead. I wish they'd done a lot more. I think this just a classic album for me. Crystal Clear. When I first heard it, I was just blown away, and then I heard Weight of the World, which is just, again, I say the word epic a lot, but it is pretty much that. DOA, Stitches, Sons of Apathy. I just can't go wrong with it.
Are they still going, Young Gun?
The last album was 2016, so make with that what you will. I haven't heard any news, so possibly.
I guess they were kind of lumped into that category, Young Guns, of like Lower Than Atlantis, Mallory Knox.
Possibly
all those kind of British sort of post-hardcore bands, that were up and coming.
Yeah.
From what I've heard from Young Guns, I quite liked. I just haven't given them a deep dive at all, really. I only know really one or two songs by them. But So that was your Y pick then. Was there any others?
No, the only other thing I've got is Yasuharu Takanashi, which is just the soundtracks from Fairy Tail and Naruto.
Okay, and finally, then Z. Do you have any for Z?
I do. I managed to pick one out. Zebrahead with Walk the Plank. I think I really like it when these punk pop / punk rock bands kind of give a bit of an edge to them. And I think Walk the Plank is the perfect example of that from
Zebrahead were really enjoyable actually when we both saw them at Download.
Oh yeah, they were so good. What is it? Walk the Plank is such a great song. Wasted Generation on the album, Save Your Breath. Just can't go wrong with it. They were meant. Rosie said for Young Guns they were meant to play All Our Kings Are Dead in full at Slam Dunk. Why not? Such a good album.
Well, why not? Because Slam Dunk's been postponed, hasn't it? So that's why not.
That Slam Dunk, right? I thought it was like previous Slam Dunk or something. Oh well. But yeah, that's it for me. What have you got?
Right, I do not have any Y bands. I only have one Z band, and it had to be Zealanado.
I thought you might have said that.
Devil is Fine. In terms of sonic experimentation and what they would like, how they managed to sort of graft together these two very disparate genres, of black metal and Delta blues.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like the coolest, most unique sounding record I heard from 2016. Certainly from 2016, but even probably from the last decade, arguably. I do prefer this album over Stranger Fruit. Before you ask, I think just a lot more concise and focused. I think this record, than Stranger Fruit, and just a brilliant collection. It's not, the title track is just one of the most hard-hitting, kind of eerie songs you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
And they're still out there, still spreading the good word, still highlighting important issues, and I think it's really, really cool that they're Manuel Gagno is still out there doing his thing.
All right, fantastic.
So there we go. That is our 100 albums wrapped up.
Oh, fucking hell. I thought that was going to be longer, but we got it in a good, concise manner. Oh,
I'm not sure about concise. We took about a bloody hour and a half.
Oh, we
to
were
go through
fantastic.
it.
We aced it. We made it.
Shall we
Ours.
skip the football stuff and then go straight on to listen to this then?
Yeah, because Rob, I admire your patience for holding out for the new
No, it's
Gojira
fine.
song, to the new Gojira song to today. So, Rob, out of everyone listening today, Rob is probably the only one who hasn't.
I'm the only one who hasn't heard the new Gojira song, but I've deliberately put it aside for this very moment.
Just,
You know?
just if you in the chat, if you have not listened to it, Simi, there we go. If you have listened to it, just type in caps Gojira, and it'll be good.
Like it.
So Gojira, bit of a background on
Born for One Thing, then.
Yes, so the song is called Born for One Thing on their upcoming album Fortitude. That is going to be released April 30th.
Cannot wait.
Gojira as a band starring two brothers, Joel and Mario Duplantier.
Yep.
Joe is the lead singer, Mario is the drummer, can also sing, do growls as well. I don't know if he can sing, but he can do growls and play guitar as well.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah,
What, Mario?
some of the live shows he does that.
I didn't know that. That's pretty good.
And then you've got Jean-Michel Labadie, and Christian Andreu and Alexandre.
I love Jean-Michel. His headbanging is something I aspire to be when I next play bass for Wednesday.
Yeah.
My tribute band.
So basically, in 2020, the band debuted at number 48 on the Billboard Bands in Town and Billboard Global Top Artists Index, and reached number 24 after 3 weeks on the chart. And on 5th of August last year, they released Another World. At start, I was kind of skeptical of it at first, but you know, you listen to it a bit more, and it's like it's got a nice. Nice, real hook to it.
I love the kind of the more space rocky elements and progressive elements that they were bringing to the table. You know, because now I think Gojira are at a stage where they're quite big now, and that some of the technical death metal elements I can understand phasing some of those out a bit more.
Yeah,
but again, I haven't heard this new song, so I don't know how true that is really for now. But honestly, like they are honestly probably the vanguard, I would say, for
technical death metal,
like really heavy music and metal bands in this day and age. You know, they're right at the forefront of it, and they always bring it. You know, whenever I've heard any of their stuff.
Yeah,
you know
what I love about this album in this song in particular is that it just you hear a part of it and then you don't know what's going to come next. And I wish Spotify would not appear on that screen. Mm-hmm. Go away, Spotify.
Bring up on YouTube, maybe?
Yeah, well, I'd have to try and bring up one without the music video because it has like a lengthy intro to that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it just throws everything at you, and it just doesn't get away from you anytime soon. You try to run from it, which if you try to run from it, you're a bad person. And yeah, it just sticks in your mind, and it's one that I keep listening to in the shower when I wash my body.
Well, that's good to know anyway.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, there we go.
Sorry, cool. We're totally not stalling because we're trying to bring up this.
Yeah, there we go. Right, so new song by Gojira off the upcoming title album, Fortitude. You got it queued up?
I'm going to have to use the music video one. Just tell me whereabouts it comes in.
Okay. Should we just bear with me a second? Sorry about this, guys. Let's podcast.
Hang on, it's fine. I'll find the beginning of it. 42 seconds in. There we go.
All right.
Right.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm going to put both earphones in for this.
Oh, you need, yeah. So, that, if you have subwoofer headphones, that bass that you keep hearing the thump just really appears at the forefront.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of reminds me of a more... It's so good, isn't it? It reminds me of like a more progressive version of Silvera.
Yeah. Oh, that riff is nasty. I love that. Oh, this is great.
This brings me back to from Master Serious sort of.
Yeah.
Vibe. Lighters in the air, guys.
Oh, I like Joe's cleans there. That's really cool.
This bit, though.
I love it. Oh, man. This is well worth the wait, I tell you.
Yeah, this is what everyone, including Beez, has just gone on about. This.
Oh, this bit. Syncopated bit.
Mario is
Brilliant.
so good in this song. Like, he's so good normally, but just this song. I feel like putting a shirt on gives him more power.
Very true. I love how he's in the video. He's kind of wearing a like a hoodie on drums. It's the most non-assuming dude you've ever seen, but he's pounding out these fills.
I love the chorus as well.
Yeah, this is great. It has that kind of eerie sort of almost processed kind of sound, but not in a very tactful way, you know?
Yeah.
You know, an eerie kind of semblance of eeriness about it, which is what they specialise in with these cleans, you know? Alright, what are we going to get here? Oh!
There you go, there's...
Yes! Yes! I love it. I love it so much. Oh my god. The amount of different harmonics they have on display in this list. My god. Brilliant.
This is kind of... Yeah.
What? Pick scrape, classic Gojira. You notice I'm smiling all the way through this.
Yeah. I love how organic the production is as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
Oh, there we go then.
So that was a ride and a half.
That was awesome.
The song itself, from what I can gather, it's kind of like wishing for like another life. You know, like it says in the song, wishing the life of another self. Then we were born for one thing, tame the greatest fear of all, born to face the greatest fear of all. We're drawn into ourselves in a collective coma. Yeah. So it's...
Again, I hate to keep using the word introspective, but again, it's like, you know, the thing I love about Gojira's lyrics, you know, they're very kind of supernatural almost.
Yeah. Like,
but they're also quite important. They touch on important issues at the same time, you know.
Yeah, like especially like that's what I loved about The Way of All Flesh in that sense. Like it's about, you know, a lot of it's about pollution and things like that. Especially like with Toxic Garbage Island.
They've always been very open about their environmental stance, you know.
Yeah. So
just such a cool band. I can't even. That song was just so good.
And the thing is, it pairs really well with Another World, so it gives me such good hopes for the album.
I think I need to go back in the VOD for the MoshTalks this was on, look at Beez's reaction again, if he hasn't been muted.
I think he's had it on non-stop, possibly.
Dude, that song was so good because again, like you said, so much twisting and turning and stopping and starting, but the catchiness and the hookiness of those metal guitar lines with the harmonics and the pinch harmonics and the pick scrapes.
Yeah, I love how confusing.
Gojira do best, basically.
Yeah, I love how confusing the intro is with its tempo, because it makes it seem like it's going to be a slower song, but then they go into the verse and you're like, what the it really gave me that reaction at first. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I know.
And really I wasn't sure if Gojira were going to go with a more sort of like, like you said, space rock kind of vibe with this album, but it seems like they're just going into like just the unexpected with the album. So that's the hopes I've got for the album. And
brilliant.
I think the singles.
I've very high hopes for the album. It's probably going to end up being up there.
It's the thing for me is like I usually have the mindset now, if I hear like 2 singles that are disappointing for me, I don't really go and say, well, the album could be good nonetheless, because like you hear those songs anyway, and you kind of like you kind of either skip over them or just don't think much of them. But that's not the case in these singles, so I'm thankful for that. So thank you, Gojira. So yeah, that was Gojira with Born for One Thing. Again, from the upcoming album Fortitude, released on April 30th. Pick it up while stocks will last. So, Rob, what have you got for me?
Right. This is an interesting one, right? I didn't really have one until in our Discord, Luke Zaguna showed us this song. I'm not even going to say much about this song.
Okay.
I'm basically just going to play it, right?
All right.
Straight away. It's by a band called Softcult, and the song is called Uzumaki, right?
Okay. I see it right here, yeah.
And let's play this song, right? And as soon as you listen to it, tell me what you like. What's the first impressions of the song that comes to mind when you hear it?
Is this like that therapist butterfly picture? What do you see?
Let's just play it and let's just get it out of the way, just so I can have a talk about. We can both have a chat about this, right?
Okay.
So, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Death. Despair. All the things she said, all the sad, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. Oh. That's really soothing.
Just wait till it gets to the chorus, though.
I like it so far, though.
It is good.
Surprising.
But it's good for a reason. And that reason we'll get to in a bit.
Why did it make you irate, Simi? It does.
It's Two-Way Mirror by Loathe.
Yeah.
Pretty much carbon copy. It's good. It's a really good song, but that's because it's almost note for note the exact same song as Two-Way Mirror by Loathe.
Oh, that's so
down to the dynamics, down to the music video. If you watch the music video, they've even done the whole slow motion guitar thing, that the band does.
Oh, really? See, they got a good dynamic there, but just...
Yeah, I think the song is actually quite good, but that's because it's so similar to Two-Way Mirror. And that's the main criticism of this song so far.
And you can't say, like, it was written before those or anything, because that album came, like, last January, wasn't it? Or February.
And this song came out on yesterday, in fact. Again, sounds brilliant. This is like right on my street. But the problem is, it's just so similar.
It's like
Two-Way Mirror.
It's like if Loathe and the Cranberries had a baby.
Loathe and the Cranberries. That's a good shout. And I can get the fact, loads of people stylistically kind of rip off other bands. That's music, that's what people... You cannot go in the annals of music history and find a band that has not conceivably ripped off another band, in whatever way, shape or possible.
But so
the
close
fact that they've done pretty much the same music video, right, with the slow motion guitars and the slow motion instrumentation, and that hook in the chorus is pretty much the same.
Right. So what's another Bish song like? Is that like?
I have no idea. I haven't heard that one yet.
When was that released? Because I'm hoping there is some like more originality there than what's presented in this.
Hang on, let me just we'll listen to that one as well, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I want to give this was released 1 month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, right?
That's what I mean. Like, that's very, very similar to Loathe.
So we've heard the side of them that's people kind of are a bit critical of them about,
Yeah.
Which is the style reappropriation, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be too overtly negative because it was a good song, but
that's because
it sounds exactly like Two-Way Mirror by Loathe.
Yeah.
So let's listen to another Bish as well.
All right.
So you got it queued up?
I have, yeah.
All right. I haven't listened to this either, actually. So this is also my first time hearing this. Let's give this a go.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
It feels like I've been pulling teeth, just trying to break.
I'm gonna give you hell, gonna give you hell.
I won't stay roll over, babe. I'm just another bitch that you'll never tame.
The thing is now,
Yeah, this is all right, you see.
but the thing is now, because we've seen that they've kind of ripped off Loathe, we're looking for other rip-offs as well now. We're like actively looking for it. So if you
There's
guys
a
spot
definite
anything in the
familiarity
chat,
about the palm muted guitar, I really like the vocals. The kind of soft vocals,
yeah.
that she's got.
I would have rather it been called Pulling Teeth than Another Bish.
Yeah, this is good.
It's alright, isn't it? Yeah.
This is good. I really like that chorus. That's a really hooky chorus,
Yeah, I think it doesn't really stand out to me a lot, but it's what it is. But they've got something there, so they just need to kind of work on that dynamic more.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this sort of stuff is right on my street. The kind of really wavy, away with the fairies kind of style hook, in the chorus.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. I could see this band touring with like Teenage Wrist or something, right?
I can't tell whether they're
And I
doing
like,
a solo or
single
swatting a
note,
fly.
I like the single note kind of guitar solo in here as well.
I can't tell whether they're doing a solo or swatting a fly.
Stop it. I do like the single note guitar solo as well. So there's plenty of merit in this song, I would say.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
mean, Yeah, so I mean, nothing.
So I want to give both sides of this. I don't want to come across as I'm just gonna. I don't want to come across as too cruel, because clearly this is a
mean-spirited.
band with a lot of
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we never have the intention to be mean-spirited with these sorts of things.
No, but it was just so striking to me just how similar that first song sounded to Loave's Two-Way Mirror, and I suppose you could say it's like a testament to Loathe, really, at how far they've come, and that they're now influencing bands, even below them. It shows how far they've rocketed up in people's estimations, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it is.
And those songs, both of those songs, I like to add, I quite liked.
Yeah.
Just the influence was just so apparent in the first one.
I think so. Yeah, like it's
I just thought it was really interesting. To gauge your reaction to it. As well.
Yeah, like Simi said, if they did it with Loath's Blessing, then I'm okay with it, but I get the impression it isn't. That kind of reminds me of when Matt Cardle did Many of Horror on X Factor.
He just completely changed the name of the song, didn't he?
Yeah, When We Collide. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
I don't think it's as bad as that. I think that was basically it was a cover song, and for some reason he changed the name of it.
There's a name that I give to that, and it's called Shitwashing.
Whereas this, there are differences. I like to think they're just getting a lot of flack. I think for the influences they brought into that song, and I think we've heard the other song, Another Bish, and I think they've definitely got potential, to stand out on their own without having to take a lot of material from other bands.
Yeah, I mean, look at where Architects were like 15 years ago compared to where they are now. Holding Absence, they're a lot stronger now than they were when they came out. Falling with Style was the previous band that Lucas and Scott were in, and they've got some good stuff, but they've definitely reached a new peak with Holding Absence. So and they used to be compared to Architects quite a bit, but they have found more of their own unique style now, which is great.
And also this track Uzumaki, the first one. So this is I should explain, this band's Softcult. It's their debut EP, The Year of the Rat, due for release on 16th of April via Easy Life Records. They're Ontario based. They're twins, actually. This two-piece. And Uzumaki was about the aftermath of a traumatic experience. 35% of women worldwide have experienced physical or sexual violence. About 10 of every 100 women in North America suffers from PTSD as a result.
Fuck, yeah.
So it's good that they're using the platform of music to address these social issues.
Yeah.
I just think for the next one, they really need to have a song that stands out on its own merit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But good luck to them, Softcult. I enjoyed both of those songs. Just try not to be so heavy-handed with your influences on the next single.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But yeah, like you said, quite a good amount of potential.
We're going to get so many hate comments in the chat.
Are we though?
In the YouTube chat after this.
I don't know. Because would more people be Loathe fans, or I don't know. But it'll be what it'll be. And
listen. I love Loathe. Right, that record. I let it in. It took everything. That was my number one record of last year, and I listened to about 100 records last year.
Mm-hmm.
So they are properly my boys.
Yeah, like
But on the other side of that, Softcult, it's a good song, and a good song is a good song is a good song. So
indeed.
There you go. Right. We'll leave it at that. So last segment.
Daft debates. I got a good one.
Daft debates.
I got a good one this week. How many of you in the chat leave your sauces in the fridge or in the cupboard? Because that is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, one of us is going to have to propose an advantage of leaving it in the fridge, and another one of us is going to have to say why they should be kept in the cupboard. Steph says fridge, but we'll leave it to you. So, initial stance. What is your argument, Rob?
I think it depends on the sauce, personally.
All right.
Like,
So,
I'm gonna do a coin flip, and one of us is gonna argue for cupboard and for fridge. Is that fair to say?
yeah. So, what would you rather argue for?
Probably fridge, I would say.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you call it right, you get to argue fridge, and I have to argue cupboard.
Okay, cool. So what are you going for?
Heads.
It's heads, yeah. So you're arguing for what you want to argue for.
Fridge.
Cool. Right, and so now I've got to argue for cupboard. Okay.
So, right, let's put it this way. If you want to keep stuff fresher for longer, I think sauces being in the fridge really accounts to that sort of style of what you put in there, and it's something that accompanies the fridge really well. And if you save blowing over your food, just add some ketchup on it, and you'll be fine. Plus, a lot of the stuff that you're most likely to put ketchup on is in the fridge as well, so you've got the same place where you can get all that kind of stuff from. And think of the fact that the option for fridge or cupboard is there, so fridge isn't really an issue. I don't know. What would you say for cupboard?
I guess you could make the argument that you have things like tins of beans that are always kept in the cupboard, as opposed to and as long as it's hermetically sealed, it'll stay fresh enough and everything. I'm not really a condiments guy. That's one of the big problems with me trying to argue for some condiments, because I'm a bit of a fussy guy when it comes to sauces. I guess as well, curry sauce. If you get the packs of curry sauce, we usually keep them in a pull out larder as opposed to the fridge.
What if you were to make curry sauce though, and then put it in the fridge overnight if you needed to use it the next day or use it multiple times?
I don't know. Like it's a difficult one. I think I'm trying to take this debate seriously, but the thing is, I'm pro.
This is why it's called Daft Debates, my friend.
I know. Yeah, I mean, again, tins of tomatoes. That's basically tomatoes in a sauce, right?
Potato.
Keep those in the cupboard.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, like, what, tomatoes? I guess tomatoes are already being cooked hot anyway, unless they're going in the salads. Yeah. So in that case,
actually, you know what? I don't actually really like my sauces like super cold.
Yeah, I think if you like things like salad dressing,
it's a warm, plate of meat that you're putting it on or whatever.
Yeah, things like salad dressing though, or anything that goes on a salad ingredients usually come from the fridge anyway. So to put something that is room temperature on it, I think would just ruin it a bit compared to something cold that you'd put on it.
The thought of eating super cold sauce on its own as well kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. Has to have something like something like meat or rice or couscous or something mixed in with it, and pasta.
I'm not the kind of person that puts a straw in his ketchup and then starts drinking it.
No, I know, but there are probably weirdos out there that do that. So that's another argument for having it in the cupboard as opposed to in the fridge.
Yeah, I mean, like Katie puts salt on the chips. I put vinegar on. I'm the kind of guy who would rather sprinkle the sauce on the chips rather than put it on the side. You
don't just take a big dollop and just go.
No, you know when chefs, like, have you seen when chefs, like, they do that weird raindrop thing on the plate?
Really, you do that?
No, I don't do that.
Very artistically kind of.
Oh, I've done artistic.
The sauce around the plate.
I've done artistic. I've acted like a guy working in Subway. But ultimately, I think fridge is it's part of my habit, so that's what I want to stick with.
I can definitely see there an argument for being pro cupboard in that result. You don't want your sauces too cold with your nice warm dinner. you know.
Maybe.
But then again, I'm the type to keep most of my sauces in the fridge anyway, so this argument's pretty much invalid. But what do you guys do anyway?
You got to pretend that you don't keep them in the fridge, Rob.
I know.
I love.
I know.
This.
I can't do it to myself. I've tried talking myself out of it. This is why it's called Daft Debates, because I'm trying to convince myself something I don't actually believe, and then.
Have you seen there's a YouTuber, Australian sketch YouTuber, and he does all these sorts of things, like calling his friend an animal for putting the sauce in the fridge and stuff like that. It's like, you don't put in the fridge, mate. It's brilliant. I'll show you his channel in a bit. Maybe I'll share it in the Discord. But
overall, I think we both agree fridge is the best. Anyway.
Yeah.
I try my best to do pro cupboard, but I don't know.
If I had to argue for cupboard, I think the one thing I would agree with is the fact that, you know, you've got hot dinner and then sprinkle room temperature on it. It doesn't cool it down too much, but I want my food to, in fact, cool down faster. So I guess that helps me with it, and my tongue is not burned.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Anyway, with that weird ending, that concludes episode 27 of the Key Yard podcast. This is a long one today.
Yeah, I know. It's
3 hours.
Nearly 5 o'clock. My God.
Jeez. But thank you everyone so much for tuning in today and bearing with us while we talk passionately about all things music, mostly, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very, you know, it's always very nice to see you all in the chat and everything. And probably see you tonight on MoshTalks, I expect. So KB, where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter, Facebook. I always still have Tumblr in my mind for some reason, because I just remember when I used to plug Tumblr, but I don't have that. I don't use it anymore. Yeah, so that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all under the name Kieran Benji, as well as my cover channel, which is KB Kook. Where can we find you?
Rob Veryard on SoundCloud, Rob Veryard Music on Facebook. You can also find me RobV93 on my on Twitch, where I do covers, guitar covers and things. And tomorrow we're going to play a bit of Among Us with the community, so that's going to be rad. I haven't done that in a while.
Oh, you're doing that? Okay, I'll be sure to be part of that.
Great stuff. And I also do Jackbox games occasionally. I haven't done one in a while, but I intend to do some more of that sort of stuff.
I've revived that a bit this week, haven't I, with Jackbox, because I was just trying out different things like Red Dead 2. But
also Rob Veryard on Instagram, and RobV93 on Twitter, even though I don't really use it. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Sounds good. So who have we got in mind to raid? Well, we'll do that afterwards.
So we have did we raid Renegade 86 last time? I think we did.
I think so.
Cameron Spence drums again, or Legacy drummer. We haven't raided him before.
How do you spell that? I've got it already.
Legacy, Legacy.
Yeah. And then just
drummer. Then drummer.
Okay. Yeah, I got that.
Cool. Then.
All right.
So go and give him all the love in the world. He's a guy who I've got to know through Mike Leon Shreds' streams. Awesome dude. Yeah, thank you very much again for tuning in.
Cheers, guys, and until next week, lights out. Well, I won't say it just yet, but there is also, just before we go, I do have a Key Yard podcast channel on my Discord, so if you've got any things that you want to see on the podcast, you want to request, then go ahead and hit us up in that channel, and yeah, we'll take them into consideration. But yeah, let's give Legacy Drummer some love, and say thank you, and lights out.
Hey.
All right.
All right, mate. Great stuff.